All right, everybody, welcome in. Hi, I'm Pugs Moran, and it is the rant for Monday, April the 6th, 2026. So that's 4626. Over the weekend, we had I don't know. We had something interesting recently. I'm sorry. I'm distracted from the very start of this show that we do here every day from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios. It's current events talk, hot topics, and all that stuff for normal people. Where's the chat room? We got a slow ass chat room today. Yeah, I know. I jumped on early. Nobody expects this. Nobody expects it, but it is Pledge Week. So more on that in a bit. But man, do I have a show for you today. Hold on, let me fix my turtleneck. Yeah, it's a turtleneck. It's the kind of thing I can only wear when I'm being shown from the, sternum up, because let me tell you, it's like a Jello freeze pop. Below that, just kind of ballooning out, shoved into a plastic wrapper. It's not good. It's not good. But from the, sternum up, it looks okay. Let me say hi to the first in the chat room. Wasn't it? Didn't I already say? Hold on. I'm rattled today. I'm rattled. That's okay. You know what I did? In my stupid bag here, I have all kinds of, tablets and stuff. Because remember back when we didn't have air conditioning over the summer and everything was going crazy with my sinuses, and I was, well, maybe you don't, but it's something that happened. So I was taking all of these over-the-counter things. And it's kind of happening again here in the Midwest. Oh God, just this time of year, I guess that happens. So I took some speed. Well, at least that's what I think it is, because combined with the caffeine, I am revved up today, and I can't seem to stay focused, which is maybe interesting for a stream of consciousness show such as this. I don't know what it was that I took. It was a rando. I know it was for sinuses, and it was like in a rando cellophane tinfoily kind of thing, and I had to push it through, and I took it, and so I'm feeling a little scattered. So bear with me. All right, back to the chat room. It was Peter. Hi, Peter. Peter was here first. National championship game is tonight. I know Peter will be watching, featuring the Michigan Wolverines taking on the Yukon Convicts. No, the Yukon Huskies. It'll be a good game. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. I know Peter's a big NCAA guy. That's why I mention it. Try to learn something personal about the people you care about, and then, just try and connect with them regularly. That's how it works. Then I see Jen. Hi, Jen. Jen's in next. Leslie's here. It's very early. When I say it's a noon show, I usually don't start right at noon, so I'm catching a lot of people off guard. Look at that, Taronda. I don't think Taronda podium today, did she? Not on my screen. On my screen, today's podium, the first three people in the chat room. Yeah. It's gonna be Peter, it's gonna be Jen, and it's gonna be Leslie. That's your podium. Sorry, Taronda. Wow. Taronda didn't podium. I don't know. I hope she's all right. Maybe a little. Well, she's here, so that's good. So we can do even. There was a period where you couldn't keep Lewis Hamilton off the podium. And then suddenly he wasn't there for a while. And I think that might be what's happening with Taronda. She is the Lewis Hamilton of the chat room. We'll see. We'll see. She could get a ride with Ferrari, and it could all change. Why am I scattered? Oh, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff too. We got a whole bunch of crazy stuff happened over Easter. But first, I got to tell you, I was distracted by something just moments before I came on here, because before I hit go live, I'm usually just kind of scrolling through Twitter or whatever. In this case, it was Blue Sky, and somebody just asked this question. So I'm going to ask the early birds here in the chat room this question and see if it affects you the way it affected me. Simple question. Who's the greatest dog of all time? Who's the greatest dog of all time? And I'm like thinking about it. And I'm reading some of the responses, and people are like, first of all, Snoopy's not even real. Get out of here with Snoopy. Snoopy and Goofy, all of these like non-real dogs. And I thought, did Jesus have a dog? Did Jesus have any pets? Because I need to know. Actually, that would be something really important for American modern Christianity to preach about, whether or not Jesus was a dog dude or a cat dude, because that's a big What if he didn't like animals? Nah, he was allergic. Jesus was allergic to. Anyway, so greatest dog of all time. I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, this is a stupid question because there's only one answer, and nobody's going to agree because obviously the greatest dog of all time is my dog. Right? Because then you got to think. You're like, you know that thing they tell you about heaven? And when you are reborn in the kingdom of Jesus, you will find yourself in a field, and running towards you will be everyone that you've ever loved who has passed on. And leading them will be every dog you've ever owned. Yeah, that's a great image. That's a pretty cool image of like, just, whoa, grandma, and then you're like, oh, my dog when I was 5, the one I got over and replaced immediately. and oh, here comes the replacement. That's funny to me. So, I guess the answer to that question is, who's your favorite dog? Because now I got to think, all right, so it's my dog. So now I got to run through the list of my dog and every single one of my dog. And I call him my dog because I happen to believe that it was the same damn soul and spirit reincarnated in the next thing. With a couple of exceptions. I had a blue who was a little bit different than all the other ones, but she was special. And that's why she can't be number one. Anyway, so there you go. I was distracted thinking about that just before I was distracted by the whole idea of what's the greatest dog of all time. Incidentally, I think like I think a lot of you're kind of programmed to start thinking about Hollywood dogs, and so a lot of people were saying like it was kind of a foot race between Rin Tin Tin and Lassie, which ought to tell you the age of people on Blue Sky, right? I mean, I don't even know who Rin Tin. I know that Rin Tin Tin was a dog, but was he a real World War II dog or something, or was he a T? I know Lassie, but barely. Like Lassie was a T. I know Benji. Benji would be my wheelhouse, right? That would be, I guess, my dog. My Gen X dog is Benji. So who is Benji? Is Benji even cool? I don't even like the breed of Benji. I mean, look, first of all, everybody likes Benji. Let's not go there. Benji's cool. But they're even in the highest tier of cool. There are like degrees of it. Not everybody can be Miles Davis, right? And so, the Miles Davis of dogs is... All right, God, I don't know. This is stupid. So I do apologize. Did y'all have a nice Easter? I had a wonderful Easter. Mom's not been feeling so great, but she made a wang dang dilly of an Easter dinner. Best ham I ever had. I don't know. It was just, there was something about it. It was very good. Ham. Why do we have ham? Did you guys have ham? Everybody has ham. Everybody has ham. But, there's like 15 people in the chat room, and I say, did everybody have ham? And like all of a sudden, everybody's like, no, I made an extravagant lamb potage. No, I smoked. Well, actually, that's unfair because a lot of you in Texas, you don't actually have ham. You do like, I smoked a brisket. I smoked a turkey. You guys take the opportunity to do that. But ham, it's like, I don't think I've ever had anything but ham on Easter my entire life. I mean, I'm trying to think, at least in my family. Now, I don't know, maybe I've spent an Easter or two somewhere else and had something, but it certainly doesn't register as a memory because every Easter memory I've ever had in my life concerned ham, a ham dinner. And by the way, scalloped potatoes and coleslaw. That's the other thing. Some kind of potato with cheese that was baked. That is staples of Easter. But I started to wonder, I was like, why ham? Well, what? Hold on a second. Let me get the chat room up to date because on my end it's not up to date. Everybody is still checking in. All right, Lassie, Benji. See, a lot of people. Lassie, Benji, Snoopy. Snoopy's like getting a shit ton of votes, and I'm like, that can't be. It's got to be a real dog. This is about sentiment. This post connected to our hearts based on our real connections to our actual dogs. So come on, let's get rid of Snoopy. Let's get rid of... I don't know. I can't even think of any other fictional dogs other than Snoopy. Why is that? Scooby-Doo? No Scooby-Doo. Although I do like Scooby. Toto. Peter says Toto. That's another big one. It's another big dog. Let's see. Fred from Smokey and the Bandit. Now, you know who's the most badass modern dog? most badass modern dog is the dog from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt's dog, Frank Booth, sorry. Cliff Booth's dog. What's that dog's name? Queenie? Princess? Whatever it is. That pit bull? That dog's awesome. That's like the coolest dog out there right now. That dog better, oh my God, what if that dog's dead? Because there's a new, if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, as I am, and my 16-year-old son, as we are, if they had a convention, we'd go to it. That's so much we love that show, that movie. Anyway, Brad Pitt's character is being spun off into, I don't know if it's a movie or a series or whatever. I just know that David Fincher is directing it, and Quentin Tarantino is like, yeah, run with it, David. And Fincher's awesome, so it's going to be amazing. And Fincher and Brad Pitt are awesome. Fight Club 7, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not here to be a David Fincher historian on the spot like that. Don't do that to me. Anyway, that's the coolest dog in my opinion. All right, back to Easter. So I had, okay, here we go. Now here's everybody. Honey baked ham for Jen because she's a real American. Leslie had pot roast. Communist! Pot roast would have been awesome. Pot roast would have been awesome. Even my Italian friends, like my Italian friends growing up, or even, Italian friends that I know to this day, they have ham. They also have lasagna, and like 15 different kinds of amazing pasta dishes and salad, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's always ham. Scalloped potatoes and kale. Kale salad. What the hell is kale said? See, communist. Well, actually, no, I accused Leslie C. of being a communist for having pot roast, which I'm sure was delicious. Oh, man, I was just going to take a shot. I was just going to say, oh, yeah, but you can't make ham sandwiches. And then I realized, yeah, but they can make pot roast sandwiches. And they might be better. It might be better. I don't know. Why do we eat ham? That's what I thought. I thought to myself, why is it that, families, there doesn't seem to be any ethno-culture, like imported ethno-culture connection between all of us eating ham at Easter. So to me, I'm like, this obviously is the American connection. This has got to be an American thing, the eating of ham. And sure enough, it is. It is an American thing. And you know why? Well, I'll tell you why. Here, check this out. I actually found some information on it. The tradition of I got to stop doing that. The world is too smart. Yeah, found some information on it. Yeah, I was up all night. I was going through stuff. I asked AI like 5 minutes before we signed in. I said, hey, what's the history of us eating ham in America on Easter? So yeah, that's the extent of my knowledge here. So let's go. Let's see what AI says. Excuse me. Should have muted that. The tradition of eating ham at Easter is rooted more in the practicality and seasonal timing than it is specific religious mandates. While lamb was historically centerpiece of Easter dinners worldwide, ham became the dominant choice in the United States during the mid-20th century due to shifting agriculture needs and affordability. All right, you want to know the big reason why? This is interesting. So because hams, they're pigs first. Pigs are slaughtered in the fall, and then they're cured all winter. And they all come ready to eat right around springtime. And you know what? That's when Easter hits. So there was suddenly this like mass amount of ham available at really low prices. And, you feed a bunch of people on a big giant ham thing. Pigs are big. And the combination of it, you ready for this? World War II ended. And wool was used for World War II American uniforms. And Canadian uniforms too, American wool. Anyway, the demand for wool stopped after there was no more need for, uniforms at the amount that they wanted. So we started having less and less lambs in this country. So the price of lamb meat skyrocketed in markets at the exact same time that the price of ham was plummeting. So there you go. That's why we all eat ham. It's not because, we all are connected by some religious or some faith, or this is a biblical mandate. No, we all eat ham because we've all, been broke-ass Americans buying the cheapest meat available. That's it. There you go. The story of Easter. I hope you had a nice Easter. Didn't have a nice Easter. You want to hear a awful, awful headline. And that's all you're getting. You're only getting the headline. You want to know why? Because I ain't going to piss all over this show here in the opening minutes simply because the headline was too intriguing not to click on. It's right there. I could click on it. I haven't even told you the headline yet. Here's the headline we're going to avoid. Easter egg hunt horror as children find baby's remains in California park. We're not clicking on that. I don't care. That tells me everything I need to know about that story, and I am good for the day. Good for the day. Oh, we need to check in on Artemis. Okay, so Artemis, it's Moon Day. That's the other thing I didn't tell you guys about. Happy Moon Day, everybody. Artemis 2. Artemis 2 is been up there since last week. It's a 10-day mission. We're doing cool things. Really cool things. And everything is going swimmingly. Hey, look. I say swimmingly from the comfort of my gravitationally pulled earthbound seat. They broke the shitter. The shitter broke. Oh, my God. My God, the Orion space capsule is like a country bar on Friday night. The shitter's broke. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. They fixed it. I guess they fixed it. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't seem to be that big of a problem, but shitter's broke. Hey, Goober, get the mop. There's no Goober in space. There ain't no Goober on this. There ain't no Goober sitting in the Orion capsule. All right, so we're going pretty far. We've gone farther now. We've sent they are farther. Okay, you know what? I love that record. That's like something that we should. But even I saying it out loud, I can't get excited. We're going farther than anybody else in a record that will be broken in the next mission. in a record that'll be broken in the mission after that. But seriously, man, that's cool. Human beings on this day have now traveled further than anybody else ever has. It says today, Monday, April 6th, 2020. And you're probably wondering, what did they pass up the moon? Yeah. Oh, they went way past the moon. Now they're looping back. And today they're going to loop back at the closest that they're going to be to the moon, and they're going to get some cool ass pictures, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. It's going to happen any minute now. We're going to check in. Might be happening now, but I'm on the wrong screen. That's all right. That's how the show runs. Let's see here. It's Moon Day for the Artemis 2 mission. The crew of 4, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen, he's Canadian, is currently performing a historic lunar flyby, marking the first time humans have visited the moon since 1972. See, because technically they're right. Because if they're inside like the moon's whatever, and I think they're going to be inside the moon's whatever, then like they're in the moon. They ain't landed. They ain't landing this time. You know what this is like? This is like, did you guys watch For All Mankind? At the end of today's show, we're all going to talk about For All Mankind. But this is like For All Mankind. This is like the way Apollo 10. Or no, Apollo. Yeah, I think it was Apollo 10. This is the way Apollo 10 was depicted in For All Mankind in season 1. Ed Baldwin and Gordo Stevens. They came so close to the moon on Apollo 10. Came so close. They could have landed, but it wasn't in the mission. So, and then like a week later, the Russians landed. That's the whole point of For All Mankind. It's a revisionist history where the Russians beat us by a week to the moon. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. Anyway, we are close. We are flying closer to the moon. We are in the moon. I would say we're in the moon's neighborhood. The moon's, vicinity, I guess. Here is 1:56 p.m., which is 12:56. All right, so this is what's expected today. So in, I don't know what, 12:56. It's 12:21 right now, according to my clock. So 12:56, right? A new human distance record will be achieved. The crew will surpass the all-time distance record for humans in space previously set by Apollo 13 in 1970. And that was by mistake. Apollo 13 wasn't even supposed to go that far, but, we've seen the movie. We know what happened with Apollo 13, so... All right, they are intentionally breaking a record that was set by mistake, which is cool. At 2:45, so that's 1:45. At 1:45 today, lunar observation period begins. This opens a 7-hour window where the astronauts will take high-resolution photos and videos of the lunar surface, and we are expected to get live feeds from the moon. 5:44 Central Time. 5:44 Central Time, a communications blackout will occur. Contact will be lost for approximately 40 minutes as the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, passes behind the moon. Getting into some Pink Floyd shit. 6:02 tonight. These are all times Central. 6:02 tonight. The closest approach. At 6:02 tonight, Orion will reach its nearest point to the moon, flying roughly 4,000 miles above the surface. That's what you figure. When you look way up in the sky and you see an airplane, they're usually cruising at like above 30,000 feet. So, they're going to get pretty close. 4,000 feet above the lunar surface. All right, so that's what we have to look forward to. Let's check in with them. Let's see. All right, we've got it. What are we looking at here? Let's listen. Oh, live views from the Orion.
That then ends up on the surface, and you can see that as sort of a ray system. So you might hear them describe, I can see for example, with its...
Oh, look, they got a countdown to the record right here. That's fun. See, that's what they need to do. They need to make it fun again.
Color hues, and so if they can see any changes in those color hues from like white to gray to maybe brownish, we're excited to be here about that.
Hey, I'm a big nerd and all, and I don't know what we're looking at. I'm pretty sure that's the moon, but I don't know if we're traveling away from the moon or if we're traveling toward. I think we're still traveling away from the moon. I don't know. We should probably listen for a little longer before we get into less aspirational content.
Scatter forward on those dust particles and sort of like create a little glow on the horizon. And so we're really excited to see if the crew can actually see that.
This is so exciting. Thank you so much for walking through all of that with us. Julian Gross, Artemis Curation Lead, we really appreciate you joining us here today, and good luck to your team.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
We are now MET 4 days, 18 hours, and 49 minutes into the flight of Orion. This view of the moon from the Orion spacecraft as we get closer and closer.
Is this a dude? Like, doesn't that kind of look like a dude? Like a profile, a robot arm. Hey, who are they sending up there? Human robot replicants? That's a robot guy. They don't have a cool robot like we see in sci-fi movies. All the missions, how they have like a cool robot assistant. That's not a thing yet. At least not something they've told us about. Because that robot would have done Fallon immediately. All right. It'd be hosting Saturday Night Live next week. The robot from the Artemis 2 mission. All right. Yeah, I don't know what we're looking at here, guys. And they seem to have gone quiet. So what did they... Oh, God. This is going to be a problem. I'm going to miss all the cool stuff because we're going to have to talk about other stuff. All right. Let's just put it in the corner here. Chat room. Just... Oh, God. You know how bad I am with checking in with the chat room when I need to check in with the... let's see here. Maddie says, have y'all seen these flat earthers losing their shit because these pictures are showing the curvature of the earth? It's all fake. It's all fake. Yeah, I don't like... So I'm going to conflate for the purposes of this mini rant, the flat earthers with the moon lander deniers. Okay. I'm so tired of the...
We're live here in Artemis Mission Control at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, just about 32 minutes away until the crew surpasses the record set by Apollo 13 as the farthest astronauts to ever leave Earth.
That was it. She interrupted my flow for that. All right, so
this view coming from a camera mounted on the tip of one of Orion's 4 solar arrays. Each array has a camera on its tip, and so we anticipate getting views throughout the lunar flyby. Of course, except during the point of loss of signal when the spacecraft flies behind the moon.
that's the same picture as before. Right.
Inside the cabin, the crew are configuring the inside of Orion for today's flyby, making sure they have everything just where they want it to help them take the pictures that they are aiming for the science team here on the ground.
I feel like she just needed to do that so that people watching the stream would be like, oh, no, it's still going. Because, silence in a picture, you're like, is there something wrong? So, okay, so whatever. I'm not going to let her distract us anymore. We know that we're a good 30 minutes away from anything cool happening, okay? So we'll have to check back in about 28, 29 minutes. So make sure we're all ready for it. All right, so the flat earthers and the moon deniers and all of these people who 25 years ago normal folk thought were weird, but were kind of interesting because it was the pre-ironic era of what America stands for, right? It was when irony still had some worth and some interest, and we were all curious about it. And it's like, oh, tell me more, stupid, about your flat earther. We used to do that. It's not even interesting anymore. So when something like Artemis happens and you start to see this bullshit trending online, it's just all I think of is, man, you guys are lame. This is like such a lame one. It's not even interesting anymore. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. All right. Ugh. So there you go. Yeah, they were. Maddie's right. They were losing their shit, these weirdos. The earth is flat. Now shut up, man. Shut up. Just because your parents didn't stress education, don't fucking penalize the rest of us because somehow you've got 2 million followers on Instagram, you weirdo. That's all it is at this point. Any of these kinds of things get amplified now because somebody, has the metric that, oh, this will get me clicks. If I say this, it'll get me clicks. So, all kinds of bullshit is amplified, and then other stupid people don't connect the dots, and they're like, oh, no, somebody who a lot of people listen to says this. So now I'm going to say it. It's a domino effect of stupid. Be the strong domino that doesn't tip over, okay? Stand strong, dominoes. Stand strong. That's what I say. Hi, Barney. Barney's here. All right, let's check. Let me see. What are they doing? Is that a new angle? Yeah, we got a new angle. Oh, geez, and I missed it.
Flyby crew conference. She will give information on camera setup, remind the crew of their intended targets, answer questions from the astronauts, and more. Young will help the crew set their targeting timeline, which counts down the time they have to image each target and what they'll be capturing next. She'll also remind them that the ground team will be calling for science sit reps, also known as situation reports.
I hate to gender her, but this is a chick, right? Like this is chick pants. That chick astronaut pants. Please? Because I was looking at the butt. I can't help it. I was looking at the butt and I'm going, okay, nice butt. Nice poop shoot, baby. I can't help it. So I'm really leaning into that being a woman, and I'm hoping that it is. Okay.
Those are essentially call downs to report what they've been observing. They'll continue to do this even through their LOS, their loss of signal, as those communications will come down later on after they reconnect with us on Earth.
All right. Who's this now in the upper left floating around? They're also wearing
This view in the cabin, you can see the crew members are already using their cameras, getting set up, and they have dimmed the cabin lights to allow them better visibility outside of the windows and fewer reflections. Now, 28 minutes until they become the humans to travel farthest from our planet.
I still think that's cool. Houston
Integrity, we are ready for the conference on your call.
Oh, what's going on? Okay, something's happening.
Houston is ready for the conference, passing you over to science.
Boring. All right, here we go.
Good morning, crew. This is science. We couldn't be more excited for a full day of lunar and planetary observations today, the first one in over 54 years. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, and Kelsey, you just got to know you're pulling us away from the moon right now, so let's go.
Ha!
Message received. I will keep it tight here. I did just want to start with a thank you on behalf of the Lunar Science team and the entire lunar and planetary science community, of which you are absolutely a part, for what you've already done in this mission and what you're going to do today to inspire the next generation of scientists. I have to say Moonjoy is the new term that's already become our team's new motto, so thanks for that. In this conference, we'll cover hardware and config reminders, and then I'll just briefly, as you said, cover today's science plan. I'm assuming you already have your LTPs up. Confirm that, and I'll jump quickly into the cabin config reminders.
That was a dude, wasn't it? It was a dude I was like, hey, nice ass. It was a dude. Yeah, because there's Christine.
LTP options to give you a sit rep on board. You've got Reed and Christina on one PCD, and Ike has his own, and Jeremy has his own.
Copy that. That was going to be one of my questions for you, and I'll ask a question back. Is that the config that you and Christina plan to carry throughout the day for PCD use?
Negative, Kelsey. Our plan for PCD use is we have run the power cables to Windows 2 and 3, and we are going to leave one PCD. The yellow PCD will be in window 2, and the green PCD will be in window 3, and we will do that the whole day. And then the red PCD will be a rover.
Understood. Super helpful. Recommend when you guys switch in and out of PCDs to add your initials to your OneNote annotations, just so we can keep track of whose is who. And then given that you have 3 PCDs instead of 4 for the data transfer at the end of the day, recommend making a new subdirectory entitled For Science for your own photos, or with your initials, so that we can keep track of which pictures came from which flashcards.
There you go. Yeah, we don't need no animations. Is that Christina? It turned off the camera, and then suddenly it went to animation. All right. I like the multi-box. Let's talk about the shitter situation.
So, Kelsey, I just want to here's what we're doing. We have community cards in all cameras on board, and then when each astronaut approaches their camera, the intent is they will put their card into that camera for photos and then put the community card back in at the end of the session. But just know it is harder to manage cards than we thought, and we don't want to miss science, so it might end up a bit more disorganized.
Understood. Thanks for that essay. Just read the flashcard numbers down when you get.
Reed sounds a little irritated, doesn't he? He's like, all right, look, here's what we're going to do. I mean, and he's the guy who in the beginning was jokingly like, you're taking us away from the moon, bitch. Okay? Just leave us alone. Let us just sit up here and check this badass shit out for a little bit. He's a little short. I'm liking it, Reed.
Photography.
That's what I want in my commander.
Window 3 and science sit reps in window 1.
If you watch For All Mankind, that's very Ed Baldwin. I'm just saying, it's very Ed Baldwin.
Coming up on the handover. Be back.
Hang on, Kelsey. The way we have it configured, tell us if this is going to be wrong. Window 2 is the
She
long
will.
lens with a shroud. Window.
As you heard, science officer called to the crew.
Oh, they can tell it's getting spicy, so they're not letting us listen. How dare you? How dare you? Somebody get in there and jump in so that we don't have to hear this. I can tell Commander Reed's getting a little pissed, and they all just want to be left alone right now. See, but here's the problem. NASA sold this to Netflix. This is on Netflix right now. Netflix is streaming this right now, so they got to go. They got to put on a show now for the next couple of hours because Netflix is hyping this Artemis mission. Not kidding. Go over to Netflix right now, and it's they're being offered on the live stream, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I love, because I want more people to start really thinking about what this is all about and what we are on the verge of accomplishing as human beings. It's truly amazing. And we were raised, from Gen X on, millennials, Gen Z, we were kind of raised with this ennui about the whole subject. And I believe it has everything to do with our love of sci-fi and how we believe we can do things that we cannot do. So when we fail or when we try, it's neither celebrated nor mourned to the extent it needs to be. So I'm all for it.
22 minutes until we reach the Apollo.
They're not letting us hear what's going on. They were supposed to be talking to each other. Science was first up. That was the first one. It's like, hi, it's science. And then they started asking all the hard science questions to the astronauts. And they're like, oh, this is so performative. Just leave us alone. That's what's happening. I'm a good judge of situations. I can read the room. But
Ready for that, Reed? We had a handover during that time, so I'm going to have to ask you to get that read back on window orientation for the crew again.
Something happened, and now they got to do it again.
Okay, we are happy to change it, but the way we have it configured right now is window 1 has a T-shirt shroud for the Z9 for solar. Window 2 has the shroud for the long lens for both lunar and solar. Window 3 is for visual observations. Window 4 is for floater. And then the docking hatch window has had a great view, so we've done a lot of mapping through that as well.
All right, copy all, Reed. A note just on the window 1 T-shirt shroud that you can remove that for the lunar observation block if you want that extra view for another floater, but defer to you guys on that. You are go to use the full 400 millimeter zoom on the long lens, but where possible, try to keep the end of the lens flush with the window to prevent imaging through the multiple window panes at an angle. And if you have to take an image at an angle, recommend you limit the max focal length to 200 millimeters or simply acquire the images at
the only thing interesting is the simmering beef seemingly happening.
Update as a result of the DSTO is that if you can take,
when they cut away, when Reed sounded like he was getting a little short, when they cut away and we were listening back to this, the woman who's hosting from the desk, when they cut back to the studio analyst from the live feed, that like somebody from NASA PR got on there and went, Reed, come on, man, this is Netflix. We need you to be a little bit more of a salesman here. That's what I believe.
Okay, last couple reminders. Don't forget the ability to take the wave files to tag imagery that you are wanting to follow up on using the FN3 button on your camera. And then a couple quick notes on your LTP. We have refined your precise flyby timing since generating the LTP. Optimus has the correct timing for the LOS and AOS, but the LTP identity.
Hey, chat room, I'm interested. If you're home or if you are around a television, I'm just wondering how this is being covered because, obviously I'm using the official NASA feed because, we own NASA. We tax pay for NASA. So what, you're gonna ban my feed because what, you think I'm monetizing something I've already paid for? I am a taxpayer in this country. NASA is, so I'm using the NASA feed. Your Honor, that would be my argument in court. So I'm using the NASA feed. But I told you about Netflix, and there are numerous other feeds available all over YouTube. Anybody who does daily live streams on YouTube is pretty much covering it, myself included, to a smaller degree. But here's what I want to know: what's going on with ABC? Like right now, is ABC running General Hospital, or I guess that show ended? But you know what I mean? Is ABC, NBC, and CBS Network? I'm just wondering, are they covering this? Is this like we interrupt this program, breaking news kind of stuff? I'm just wondering. I don't know that it would be, but I hope it is. That's just me being a dreamer. All right, let's check back in.
And I do have a reminder for you on your preferred starting config for the Eclipse in terms of role responsibility. Let me know if you want me to read that up or if you guys have that in your minds already. And if no other questions on config, I'll give you a few science-focused reminders.
April says the major networks are airing the Iran press conference.
Give us a quick high level, but we see it in Optimus, and I think we got it squared away. But give us your quick Kelsey high level.
Reed sounds way more agreeable.
A couple changes from the first LTP you studied is that Glushko is the only feature that the same pair will view twice. That's Reed and Jeremy. That's why that's the only target you see that is marked as 1 of 1 and 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. So Ohm and Oriental are in there twice, but they're different pairs. Which is
here's what I'm going to do here.
A note.
I'm going to break away from this, and we're going to start the show, and we're going to cover some of the other things that are happening in the world today because it is a busy, busy day.
As well as color and albedo.
So let's put that down there, and then we'll keep the window open. But it really is. This was part of what I was going to talk about here. And this is not a criticism. It's just an observation. It's just what I'm seeing. This is interesting. The whole Netflix thing about Netflix. Suddenly it was announced over the weekend. So it's a last minute thing. Netflix decided to jump in and live stream what it was that we were just watching here. That's terrific for NASA. That's terrific for people like me. It's terrific for anybody who gets excited and can't understand why other people don't get excited. Although I do kind of understand it because I've thought about it my whole life. I'm like, why am I the only one who sees it this way? But I understand. But, the Netflix thing is very cool. And this was a story that a lot of people talked about over the weekend. I watched Saturday Night Live and I'm like, oh, please do an Artemis sketch. Please do an Artemis. And they didn't. It would have been cool. It would have been cool for public branding and all that. But anyway, this is a truly monumental day. And so we're going to keep it monitored there in the bottom corner. And we're getting close, though. We're about 10, 15 minutes away, right? From the first thing, which is going to be setting the distance record. Let me see one more time. How much time do we have before the distance record gets set? Well, looks like they took the timer down on that. Or, hold on. There we go. Let's see if we get up to speed here. Okay. All right. All right. So we'll check back in on that. All right. Let's get the show started in earnest because I ain't gonna miss any cool ass history stuff just because I got to do this live stream. By the way, folks, the live stream today is brought to us by nobody because it's Pledge Week, folks. It is Pledge Week. I haven't done the math because I don't like to be depressed, and today is a day that could very easily depress me. So let's lean into the happy. We didn't do the story about the Easter egg hunt in California that resulted in the discovery of a baby's remains. No, because we don't need that kind of dark cloud today. We're staying optimistic because our mood is a choice. As soon as you understand that, as soon as you have the tools to understand and how to utilize the choices you have, see, I'm going to be happy today. I feel like I'm on the verge of a depressive spiral, but that's okay. That happens. Choice is what this is about. All right, so if you want to help support this show, I'll do the numbers and all that kind of stuff tomorrow or something, so we'll have a more solid thing. But if you support this kind of talk radio every day at noon, the kind of talk radio you can't get anywhere else for now, yeah, I say that optimistically. I get some things, we'll see. We'll see what it is. Anyway, you want to help support this kind of talk radio, please drop a little something, either the Venmo or the Cash App. Be greatly appreciated. Nothing will tear me away from this daily endeavor, one that we've shared now for almost 5 years. So please help us stay alive. We need to raise some cash this month. So drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App. And tomorrow, if you are today's big tipper, you will be the savior of Pledge Week, or probably not, but certainly at the very least, executive producer of the day, a title bestowed upon the person who tips the most on the previous day. So thank you, folks. Hope you play the game this week, and we look forward to the outcome. All right, now, is there something I need to be checking out that is happening on live TV? Because when I asked everybody, what are the networks doing? ABC, NBC, CBS. What are the networks doing? Are they covering this Artemis thing? I expected the answer to be no. They're showing Press Your Luck or, whatever the hell, Springer. What? I don't even know what they show anymore. What is I haven't watched daytime TV in, forever since we've been doing this show. So what do they do like right now normally on NBC? Is it some it's the 5 clone judges and it's just like one judge, but he's been cloned 5 times and people argue about, you stole the batteries from the remote for your electric bong. Is it all that stuff? I don't know. I don't even know what's on TV. Anyway, What I didn't expect was people to say that they broke in because there's other big news. And I know there's other big news. Hey. The good news, and let's get this out of the way first. And this happened, was this late Saturday or was it Sunday? I don't know. I remember when it was great. It's great news. We apparently got the pilot. Second pilot was missing. We got the first guy. A plane got shot down last Friday. We fairly quickly rescued one of the pilots, and then it took a couple days or a day or so to get the other one. We did not, in any way, shape, or form, want that man getting captured by Iran. We just don't, because whew. So we got him. But here's the problem, and I posted about this yesterday. Have we seen him yet? I don't know. Have we seen him this morning? Have they released anything? Do we have names? I mean, I would understand why we wouldn't at this point, but, we live in the social media age, so Iran themselves started posting, they didn't get the guy. He's still out there. They did not get the guy. They are just telling you that they got the guy. That's what Iran's saying. And so I hear the official president, we got him, and hey, good. And I want to be like, thank God. But then Iran, a regime that I've known is like just awful and evil, at least by my worldview, a regime that I've known is that way since like 1979. They come out and say, no, you guys didn't get him. And I don't know who to believe. I don't have any. The United States government at this point, I told you, man, my faith in the institutions are gone. I don't believe anything the FBI says. I don't believe anything our military says. I don't believe anything. And we know I don't believe anything that the Iranians say, and they're both saying opposite things. And I'm like, I don't know who to believe. Holy shit, did we break America? We broke America. Holy crap. So I'm going with he's home because ultimately at the end of the day, I'd rather be wrong about my own people than agree with that fucking regime over there in Iran. So I'm going with we got him. So good job. Thank God. I would still really like to see, some names or somebody who is going to pose, can we see, have they been flown to a hospital in Germany? Isn't that where they always go? God bless them. I hope it's true. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, so let's get into All right, so the president, he's funny. So the president made some news on Easter Sunday morning when the rest of us were gathering with our family and trying to forget the horrors of the outside world just for a couple of hours on a Sunday in April. President woke up and tweeted. Here's what I've had this guy. We know we tweeted. He truthed on his Truth Social. It's everywhere. Nobody this is wait. Be quiet. Pugs is going to tell us what the president. You know what he tweeted. And as I said to somebody, I told them, I said, I can't get really all that excited about this tweet because it's only incrementally worse than the previous most shocking tweet that he ever put out there. And I'm tired of reacting to his social media posts. That's me. I've never been a Trumper. I've always been able to see him for what I thought he is. And I think I'm being, proven correct, but whatever. I'm not anti-Republican. I'm not anti-conservative. I'm a guy in the middle. I have empathy and love for all people. Okay, maybe that pushes me a little to the left than in the middle because I don't give a shit about who you sleep with or how you want to dress in women's clothing. I don't care. You can't make me be friends with anybody. If I like a person, I'll like a person. Don't tell me. Anyway. But this tweet raised a lot of eyebrows. Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to read it. Yeah, I'm going to have to read it because I want to react to it. Okay, so where is it? How do we do this? All right, so here's the initial post. You've all seen it. I guess I do want to read it. I was like, do I even want to read it? Yeah, I do. All right, so here it is. Oh, we got to stop. Do we got to... I don't want to lose. Let's check in real quick. Hold on, let's check in real quick with Artemis.
their Orion spacecraft Integrity. So you will hear calls.
Oh, 5
to
minutes,
this entire
man.
crew with the name Integrity. They say that the name Integrity embodies the foundation of trust, respect, candor, and humility across.
She's got a good voice. She's got a nice calming voice. Like if this was happening at 2:00 in the morning, there's no way I'd stay awake. I go right down. It'd be so peaceful. All right, we'll get in. All right, let's do the Trump tweet. I hate the idea of having to do this rushed. But here's what everybody woke up to yesterday, the Trump tweet, okay? He says, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards. That's the one that gets me. Everybody else, they got freaked out by, I'll read the rest of it. Open up the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch! Exclamation, all capitals. Praise be to Allah, period. President Donald J. Trump. All right, so the part that I like the best is I like where he's like, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day. Okay, first of all, I don't know. Isn't the reason you don't tell the press anything is because you don't want them to be, giving up strategy? And then the president's like, we're going to do it on Thursday. Okay. So everybody, well, I mean, look, if he's really just going to flatten the place, which I believe that we probably have the military power to do, if he's really just going to flatten the place, then I think that this is good. You got to let people know. Except he's crazy and nobody believes him. But hopefully some people will, because he is crazy, that he will do this. And, okay, so be it. Get in your holes, good citizens of Iran. But my favorite thing is where he says after Tuesday will be power plant and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. My favorite is right here. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards. that's like I don't know what that is, but it seems like open the fucking, come on, open the fucking straits, you crazy bastards. I mean, it seems weird. It's just a weird. All right, hold on. We got to check back in with Artemis. 2 minutes and 51 seconds. All right, I got 2 more minutes to riff on this. Let's see. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. Okay, so a lot of people went nuts on the praise be to Allah. He's obviously being sarcastic, but that's hard. That doesn't translate well on social media. But he's being sarcastic. And people are like, it was Easter morning, and he didn't even say, well, he didn't go to church either, which is another thing you people let slide all the time. The guy that Jesus anointed, he can't be bothered going to your church. He never went to church. They had to make an AI picture of him and Melania standing in a church yesterday that was totally AI, but they released it as Happy Easter from the White House. It was AI. He didn't go to church. He doesn't go to church. So anyway, nothing's going to make the Christian right waver, right? Well, I don't know. Christian right, they're talking about the 25th Amendment, and we'll get into that whole thing. Bunch of people upset about the praise be to Allah. Bunch of people upset that he didn't, go all Jesus-y and, I love Christ on Easter. But, we'll get back to that because we've got a record here. All right, here we go. Let's check in with Artemis. We are just about ready for a distance record. Uh-oh. Nope. I want to make that bigger. That's what she said. All right, here we go. Check in. We are 1 minute and 30 seconds away from setting a new distance record.
If you've been following the mission, you can see that the configuration of the cabin is a little bit different than what it looked like on launch day. After ascent, the crew were allowed to reconfigure their spacecraft, and you can see that they've taken down seats. They have also taken away footrests. This gives them more opportunity to move about the spacecraft.
God, this thing is like a 1980s Saab. Remember how you used to be able to pull? They were like the first car that you could pull the seats out and move them around. And maybe I got that wrong.
Orion itself has 330 cubic feet of habitable volume. That's about the size of 2 minivans and is 60% more cubic volume than the Apollo spacecraft.
Cool.
We are standing by for the Integrity crew aboard Orion. to surpass the Apollo 13 record.
There's like, it's not gonna be like fireworks or anything. It's gonna happen, and I could very easily just talk over it. With the delay, it's probably already happened. I don't think that's how it works. I don't know how it works. All right, here we go. See how exciting that this is going to be. So anticlimactic. There's just, it's got to be it, right? Can we listen? Can we listen to them? Or is Reed yelling at somebody again?
Integrity crew. On April 15th, 1970, during the Apollo 13 mission, 3 explorers set the record for the farthest distance humans have ever traveled from our home planet. At that time, over 55 years ago, Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes flew 248,655 statute miles away from Earth. Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier. Integrity, over to you.
Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes, better known as Hanks, Bacon, and Bill Paxton, right? Apollo 13, the movie?
Yeah, from the cabin of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth. We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
He's talking, but his mic cut out.
Thank you, Integrity, and congratulations to you and the rest of the Artemis 2 team.
Thank you, Houston. We have a couple more things we'd like to take this moment for. Our science team helped us out with a couple of relatively fresh craters on the moon that have not been previously named, and our crew would like to propose a couple of potential names for those items or those areas.
Oh, don't say Trump.
Don't say Trump. Looking out the window, and we're able to see them now both with our naked eye and through the long lens, and so we feel this is a good time to send this down, and a special shout out to Kelsey for helping us with this. The first one we'd like to suggest is a named crater in honor of our great spacecraft integrity.
All right.
So if you were to look at Oriental on the far side and then draw a line straight up to Ohm on the far side, relatively in the middle is an unnamed crater, and we would like to suggest it be called Integrity in the future.
Fine by me. Anybody object? Done.
And the second one, and especially meaningful for this crew, is a number of years ago we started this journey in our close-knit astronaut family, and we lost a loved one. And there's a feature in a really neat place on the moon. And it is on the near side, far side boundary. In fact, it's just on the near side of that boundary. And so at certain times of the moon's transit around Earth, we will be able to see this from Earth. And so we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol, the spouse of Reed, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as Ohm, and it's a bright spot on the moon.
You're getting emotional.
And we would like to call it Carol, and you spell that Carroll.
Oh, they're all crying. All right. Any objections? Sit down. Passed. All right. Carol. Carol is now something on the moon. Oh. Oh, no, I'm getting emotional. Oh. Who was Carol? Now we all got to find out who Carol was. Probably an astronaut who, you know. Okay. All right. Look, nobody's going to push back on that one, Reed. We're good. We're good with the first one being integrity, and we're good with that one being for Carol.
Integrity and Carol Crater. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Huh. All right, get it together, guys. All right, that's good. Well-rounded human beings. Them, not just science nerds. Look at that woman being all emotional. Did you have to put the woman nearest the camera? Seriously? Just a note for any other missions. Anything like, spontaneously emotional like that is planned. Oh, how can it be spontaneous and planned? I don't know. All right. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing now. So we're going to break away. They have just broken the record for the furthest distance any human has ever traveled. The crew of the Artemis 2, congratulations, surpassing the previous record held by the Apollo 13, which we all saw the movie, All right, so good for them. All right, we're going to break away, and I don't know that we have any other... hold on, maybe. What do we have to look forward to? 1:45, lunar observation period begins a 7-hour window where the astronauts will take high-resolution photos and videos of the lunar surface. Cool. So, okay, so that's going to be at 1:45 our time. That's, 40 minutes away from now. All right, so let's get back into the show. All right, we were talking about the Trump tweet and how everybody freaked out.
As the Artemis 2 crew passed the record set by Apollo 13 for the farthest humans to ever fly from Earth at 12:57 p.m. Central Time, 1:57 p.m. Eastern Time, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen shared.
We're getting ourselves all put back together now, and we are going to dim the cabin lights and prepare for our science objectives ahead. Thank you.
They're going dark.
Sounds good. We're doing the same down here, and you are maneuvering to your observation attitude.
Okay, all right, we'll close that off. All right. So we covered the Trump tweet, and like I said, it's just for me incrementally worse than whatever the last worst shitty Truth Social post that the guy put out. He's not Franklin Roosevelt, okay? And that's, nobody voted for him to be Franklin Roosevelt. Everybody knew this time around exactly the kind of dude he was, and people were comfortable with that kind of dude being the president and representing us and all that. So, okay. So we got him. And okay, he put out a shitty tweet. Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There'll be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, says the president, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch, all capitals. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. All right, so he put that out, and people went a little bit nutty about it, and that's as expected, I suppose. Hold on, I gotta close some windows here, guys. I'm trying to fill with nonsense talk, and now I'm being distracted. Apparently, there's a new 3 technique on the market. All right, I'm not gonna bore people with that. Okay, so here's what I wanted to do. All right, so he put the tweet out, but then also there were all kinds of festivities planned around the White House on Easter. Like there's something going on in the backyard. There was a band and all that kind of stuff. And he's talking to reporters and he's doing phone interviews. He did a lot of interviews yesterday on Sunday morning, which is, interesting because the day before he was dead. Yeah, remember that? Remember when Trump died on Saturday? Or at least the pathetic social crowd on social media would have you believe. Nonsense from the very beginning. Trump was golfing, or I don't know what he was doing. It was a sauna day. He spent the entire day in a sauna with a whole bunch of his, Epstein crowd buddies. I don't know what he was doing, but he was, laying low on. But then on Sunday he came out, not at church, mind you, didn't go to church. No, he think he golfed. He golfed early, and then there was some big event at the White House, and he was out and he's talking and he's doing interviews. And here I wanted to show you this. This came from Fox News. Is this the Fox News report? Let me see. Yeah, okay. So this is how it was first reported yesterday afternoon. And now remember, that's very, I can't, right? So I got to get rid of, all right. So I got to get rid of the Artemis stuff, Apollo stuff. Listen to me. So I got to get rid of that. We'll go to this instead. Is this it? All right. Yes, this is the Fox News piece. So this was reported yesterday, and I thought this was really interesting. Fox News yesterday afternoon.
And slaughtered what the president tells
or actually yesterday morning.
Now, the president also provided new details on what happened earlier this year as the Iranian regime took to the streets and slaughtered what the president tells me is 45,000 civilians in their own country. After that took place, President Trump told me the United States sent guns to the Iranian protesters. He tells me we sent them a lot of guns. We sent them through the Kurds, and the president says he thinks the Kurds kept them. He went on to say we sent guns to the...
The president said he thinks the Kurds kept them. That strikes me as just, funny. It's just the way it's being read out and the way I can say it. Because you know how Trump talks. It's like you don't know what is like official stuff. You don't know what is accidentally classified stuff. He's just selling. And just the way this Fox News guy put it, he's like, he thinks. Okay, so let's hear that one more time.
Iranian protesters. He tells me we sent them a lot of guns. We sent them through the Kurds, and the president says he thinks the Kurds kept them. He went on to say we sent guns to the protesters, a lot of them. And so a number of headlines here from my conversation with President Trump. All of this taking place more than a month into operation.
All right, just forgetting that I don't know that he's supposed to be making that public and casual conversations with some Fox News guy stationed in Israel, but he did. And, I don't know, just, okay, whatever. But he also tweeted earlier in the morning, Tuesday is when we're going to do everything, so buckle up, buttercups. Which also, to me, but who am I? I don't know military strategy. Maybe Trump's a genius. Maybe Trump is like the Patton of our time. I don't think it is. But, we can all hope. Okay. So you understand what's happening here? Trump says that he tried to arm the protesters in Iran by giving weapons to the Kurds. The Kurds had apparently agreed that they would then give the weapons to the protesters in the streets of Iran. That never happened. Trump's like, I think the Kurds kept them. Which is just funny because it seems like, I don't know. I bet some of them generals that got fired were generals who were like, yeah, you know what? We should have never done that in the first place. We could have told you. No, Trump's out there. But it is interesting that it also appears that Trump might be trying to pin this on the fired generals. Like this is something that they did. But he spoke about it from one of those events that were held yesterday in the back of the White House there. I think it's called, what's it called? The Lawn? What is that play? I don't even know what it's called. What the Rose Garden? Do we have a Rose Garden anymore? I'm not even sure. All right, hold on. Where is it? There's some pretty cool video here. How you guys doing today? You guys doing okay? Good. Okay. Is it just because the pop-ups are just going to take forever for me to get this video? Maybe we don't have video. It was Trump, and he was sort of saying the exact same thing that the Fox News guy had reported earlier in the morning, except there was a really groovy soul band playing an instrumental in the background, and it was a pretty good video. Let's see. No, that's not it. I'm so sorry. If we were a bigger budget and cooler show, we would probably have... Really? There's no video of this? All right. All right, hold on. Just give me a second. Let me work through this nonsense. Oh, yeah, okay, here it is. I think I got it now. All right, very good. I had so many different pieces of video that we're not going to see because it turns out we don't need all that because we got this video. Okay, so now we are going to have to wait a couple of minutes. I apologize. Like I said, so how you guys doing today? Huh? It's Pledge Week. Think about your favorite show that you've been listening to. So
is MVP Asia Wilson's go-to antiperspirant. It's earned Allure's Best of Beauty Award 3 years running.
I hate this. You know what? I got to stop using video from Mediaite.
No pressure.
They hijack my system. Even when it says you can skip a video, they don't let me skip it.
Your bombs go up.
All right, here we go.
They're upset. They want.
Okay. All right, that thing we just listened to there. The thing we just heard from Fox News, he was like very hurriedly reading his notes. It was 8:03 in the morning, Easter morning. So this was like, early Easter. Here, let me pull this up. Where the Fox News guy was like, yeah, he told me that we gave guns to the Kurds and that they kept them and that's why there was never an uprising among the people in the streets of Iran because they kept them and blah, blah, blah. All right, so here. So now Trump, like a couple hours later after a golf game, after that big Fox News story became a thing, Trump's like, and he's smart. This is what you got to do. You got to own it. You got to get out in front of it. He's like, if it's simmering, if people are reporting something, answer directly and lie in any way that you need to change the narrative. Now, I'm not saying he's lying, although he is Donald Trump, so I'm pretty sure lies are involved. But this is yesterday afternoon how Trump answered the question of, did you tell Fox News that we sold arms we gave arms to the Kurds and they stole the arms from us? So what do we got to do? We got to wipe out the Kurds now? All right, here you go. So this is Trump yesterday about, probably 6. Well, it's 11:21 Eastern. So it was 8:02, the first one. So 8, 9, so 3.5 hours or so, maybe 3 hours. 3 hours later, Trump's going to answer for it.
Bombs go up. They're upset. They want to hear bombs because they want to be free. And the only reason they're not out protesting, you know that, is because they were informed that if they protest, like the wrestler and his friends, if they protest, they will be shot immediately. And that's an edict. That's in writing. If they protest, if they go out in the streets, they will be immediately.
You know what I like to imagine? I like to imagine that Trump is actually the lead singer of that band, and he just jumped off stage for a second to answer a couple of questions, but now he's been gone from the stage for a while, so the band is just like carrying on. And when Trump ends this interview, he's gonna take the microphone and jump back up on stage and be like, yeah, that's why he's actually the singer right now. He's just jumped off stage to answer a few questions, and the band is filling. The band is like looking around. They're like, "Is he coming back? Should we just go to just keep playing the bridge?"
Immediately shot. They don't have guns. You know, we sent some guns, but the group that was supposed to give, which I said would happen to my people, I said it. I called it exactly. We sent guns, a lot of guns. They were supposed to go to the people so they could fight back against these thugs. You know what happened? The people that they sent them to kept them because they said, what a beautiful gun, I think I'll keep it. So I'm very upset with a certain group of people, and they're going to pay a big price for that. But the Iranian people will fight back as soon as they know they're not going to be shot and as soon as they can get weapons. If they had weapons, not many of them, if they had weapons that would go the other way, and you know what would happen? Iran would give up in 2 seconds because they wouldn't be able to take it. But in Iran, they have absolutely no weaponry, and they've been told point blank, if you come out to the streets, you will be killed. As of this morning, and we have
the band is just waiting for him to jump back on stage and finish the damn song. They're doing a masterful job of filling, but come on.
Pretty good information. 45,000 protesters have been killed. Pretty bad.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President, owning the story. And, in the list of things that he has done, let's generously call them non-traditionally, I wouldn't know where to rank that one. I have no idea. All right, let's go back to the Artemis thing, because how far are we from the next? We're about a good half hour away from the next little Artemis 2 milestone, which will bring us closer to the moon than, or at least open a window. where we'll be as close to the moon as we've been in quite some time. I do want to say something about the chat room. I want to talk about Barney. Barney's sitting here saying, because it marks evolution and achievement in a given arena. That's why. What do you mean, what's the point? Shut up. What do you mean, what's the point? You had a first-round draft pick. You might be interested in taking the cornerback or the wide receiver who set the 40 record at the combine. There's a lot of points to records, Barney. All right, thank you. Thank you, Barney. I love going off on Barney. That was good. I haven't gone off on Barney in quite some time. What's the point? I get it. I mean, there are arbitrary records. Let me be serious about, because this is a silly, well, it's not a silly, it is actually not a silly record. The way that I just reflexively characterized it as a silly record, that's not good. It's not a silly record. It's a record that means something. It's a record that is hopefully going to be broken very soon, which was amplified by the crew there. This is not so much a record, how far they've gone, as it is a measurement of our progress fulfilling the promise of humanity, which is to always seek what's over the horizon. Thank you. Tell me I shouldn't be NASA administrator. I could make these speeches at political dinners. People would love me. I'm telling you. Anyway, okay, so back to the Trump thing. So the Christians got all pissed at him, right? Easter. He didn't do Easter right. He didn't do Easter properly, I guess. He went and he held a concert where he did soul covers from the 1970s for a select group of friends. That is not what Jesus would have wanted. And I guess the Christians got a little bit mad at him. When I say Christians, I mean the Marjorie Taylor Greene wing of American Christianity. You know, the people whose Jesus has a buzz cut and drives a Corvette. That's their guy. He's got a barbed wire tattoo on his bicep because back in the 90s, he was impressionable. And, you know, like we all were. He's dating a chick with a tramp stamp. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene's Jesus. Anyway, those people, they got really mad yesterday because Trump actually put the letters together, praise be to Allah, while threatening to, you know, level one of Allah's favorite places, which would, of course, be the Iranian regime, which has pledged complete and total allegiance to Allah. And, you know, the, again, buzzcut Corvette Jesus, tramp stamp girlfriend, who he's cheating on, by the way. Their Jesus is allowed to cheat. He is. Because he's sorry. That's all you got to be. Not true. It's all you got to say. You just got to say sorry. Anyway. Where was I? So those Christians, they're upset because they failed to understand that Trump wasn't praising Allah, right? You know, everything's so on the nose for the stupid. If you're a stupid person, you don't do nuance, you don't do degrees. It's all about on the nose. He said praise Allah, right? So I guess those people got mad. He was being snarky. He was being a dick. Don't you know he's a dick? Oh, what? You people are now shocked that he's a dick? All right. Welcome to the fucking party. He was being a dick. He was being a snarky dick. You know, there's another piece of video that's out there that's going around, which I could lump into the same kind of thing. There's a video of him standing on the balcony. They're like all Evita style, you know, after he did like 2 sets of some of the smokingest cool 70s soul funk. He finished up his sets and he and Melania went up on the balcony. And I think it was Melania, him and the Easter Bunny. Do I have this video? I might actually have the video. Let me show it to you, just to show you how disingenuous people are. Yeah, I don't have it. That's good. I don't have it because I was like, that's some bullshit. But anyway, Trump gets up there and he's standing next to Melania and he's like, he goes, you know who would love this? Melania would love this. Where's Melania? Anybody seen her? Anybody? He's like, oh, there she is. That's what Trump did on the balcony. So, of course, people were like, Trump is losing it. He doesn't even know that Melania is right now. He absolutely knew Melania was next to him. Trump was doing a bit. Context is everything, okay? We don't have to stretch all that hard to find examples of this guy losing his fucking mind. We don't have to, for lack of a better term, trump up the evidence. Trump didn't know Melania, and here's video. And seriously, and it's him being like, he's like, hey, anybody see my hot wife? Where is, oh, there she is. That's what he was doing. He's a pig and he's a douchebag, but he wasn't a doddering fool going, where's my wife? Hey, young lady. Oh, there she is. That's not what he was doing. And that's the way it was presented. And I'm just tired of this. You don't have to Trump shit up on this guy, man. You don't have to. No matter how good he is at Stevie Wonder covers. No matter how good. All right, so the 25th Amendment's being talked about by a lot of people, and I got to tell you, gang, got to be honest, witches. I would have, a couple of months ago, or I would have recently said, no way, absolutely no way. "25th Amendment, Trump. Have you seen his most recent cabinet meeting? Before we get started here, I just want to say my sinuses were going insane this morning. And, I just thought it was going to be one of them days. But then I sat here at this table and this guy walked in. And now I'm curious. How about this guy? Can we, that's how the cabinet meetings go. These people are forced to prostrate themselves in front of this guy. So in order to get the 25th Amendment, what you need is the vice president to be like, all right, this is nuts. And the vice president's got to go and get a majority of the cabinet to side with him. To then send a letter to the Speaker of the House, who then certifies it with the Senator pro tem of the, that would be of the Senate, of the Senate. And then right in that moment, the president is no longer president, although he can appeal, and that'll be a thing, and we'll see how that goes. But so it is a very, and by the way, deliberately complicated and difficult process invoking the 25th Amendment. Section 4 specifically of the 25th Amendment. And I would have never said it was possible, but man, let me tell you a little tale that we are seeing play out in front of our very eyes. Trump truly, I think, believes he is untouchable. I don't believe that Trump understands the cracks in the hardcore support. I mean, my God, how is he going to win a street war if he doesn't have Joe Rogan's army of Boogaloo boys and stuff having his back? Those people aren't there anymore. Nick Fuentes ain't coming out. Alex Jones ain't coming out to fight for you. He is not as scary as he once was. And J.D. Vance, well, you might say, well, J.D. Vance would never do that. Well, what? What? You don't think J.D. Vance sees a future for himself? J.D. Vance isn't an old guy. He's a young man. J.D. Vance has a play here, and I am absolutely certain that Republican operatives have been whispering this in his ear for a couple of months now. And the play here is turn on him. We have already lost the midterms. The midterms are gone because this guy now embodies everything that he said he was coming to Washington to clean up. The regular people, the fence sitters, the independents, the rural Americans in Nebraska, they ain't buying this bullshit anymore, JD. This whole movement is sunk, and it's going to be drowned to death in the blue wave that is coming in November. The midterms, I mean, even just historically speaking, it is typical for it to change, but because of the climate, because of the built-in anger already, it's already a razor-thin thing in this country. It's not a landslide the way the president would have you believe. It's already razor-thin, and he has lost a significant group, and by that, I guess I mean MAGA, whatever. Regular Republicans are like, we are cooked. Unless, and there's time now. There's time. There's we talked about this last year, I guess, during the 2024 election. You gotta shock the world within like 3-4 months of the election, and they did that. That's around the time that the assassination of Trump took place, where he was losing. Kamala had heat, and then they assassinated Trump, or tried to, and then suddenly, within like 3 months, was the election. He was able to ride that to get all the fence sitters. So, you know, if you time it right, without all the facts being out, you can brand an option to what you expected to be the choices in an election into that seat. You can do it. They throw Trump out. The Republicans say J.D. Vance is now the guy. And J.D. starts talking about how, look, you know, I was the adult in the room and I'm glad I'm here, but this is a new day for the Republican Party. They can go back to being normal because the crazies are no longer a unified thing because of whether it's Epstein or Iran or whatever. They can go back to normal. They can do that with J.D. Vance. Now, what does J.D. Vance got to do? J.D. Vance gets to be the savior of the Republican Party. Now, it's a roll of the dice, but hey, it's better than him being the disgraced vice president of a corrupt presidency for the rest of his life. J.D. Vance can save his political future by simply being the guy that invokes the 25th. He will go down in history books as somebody that I think history will look good on. Look good on? Look favorably upon. Now, what's he got to do? He's got to get one of these. He's got to get the majority of the cabinet. You know, the guys that are like, oh, my God, it smelled like fart until this guy walked in. And then he walked in, and now it's all daffodils. How does he do it? Am I right? Am I right, cabinet? Let's give it up for this guy. Oh, you don't think you can get those people to turn on the guy that forces them to do that publicly? Oh, you don't. What do you think that they're just like that in their everyday life? You think that individuals rise to the level of cabinet secretary, a presidential secretary? You think people rise to that level without being the dude that takes no fucking shit ever in their regular life, in their real life? Well, he's the Secretary of Agriculture, and before this, he was, he was in charge of the South Carolina Bureau of Farmers or whatever. You don't think when he was in charge of the South Carolina Bureau of Farmers, nobody ever fucked with him and nobody would ever dare make him bend his ego in that way? You don't think the prostrating that he's got to do to please El Fuhrer, you don't think that bothers him? You don't think if the opportunity presented itself for that guy to go, fuck Trump, he would take it? Oh, I think this cabinet is ready to go. Half of them are living in fear of losing their jobs anyway. I think the 25th is a very real thing, and I actually believe that somebody's probably already brought this up to J.D. Vance. He's got options. And here's the other weird thing about J.D. Vance. He's gone super Catholic. He has gone super Catholic, which is interesting because the Catholics have never been fully on board with Trump. They never have. They're with him because of the conservative abortion thing, but that's basically it. And now you got the Pope, who is popular in a way that a Pope hasn't been popular in this country in a century. That's true. Probably since the actual guy that he took his name from, Pope Leo. There hasn't been a Pope more popular in the pews of American Catholic churches in 100 years, in 100 plus years. So J.D. Vance is suddenly, all Mr., I'm Catholic and I've transitioned and I wrote a book about my rebirth as a Catholic. The rest of MAGA, the hardcore MAGA people, they don't really love Catholicism. This is a problem for J.D. Vance if he's going to stay tethered to MAGA. Anyway, it's all very interesting. Catholic J.D. And you know what? JD can go right back. He can go right back to the shit that he said. Do you remember, before Trump made him his VP, JD Vance is very public about, Trump is not that bright, and he's also not really conservative, and I think he's Hitler. Then you call him Hitler. JD Vance called him Hitler or something. So J.D. Vance can go back to that. J.D. Vance can be like, look, I always knew there was something wrong, but I was given an opportunity to be close to it, and I thought that I could provide some level of guardrails, and then it just got too crazy, and I had to blow the whistle. And that's why I'm President J.D. Vance. I mean, he can play that. He can play that, and he can drum up new excitement for the midterms. All does not have to be lost if there's a new excitement, but it's got to be done within 4 months. So there you go. That's my play. That's what I think. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm certainly not saying that that's going to happen. What I am saying is that I believe it's a possibility more so than I did a month ago. I do not think everybody now has his back. I think that people see an opportunity for what's going to happen next here. And, anyway. Christians, we don't need to go into that, do we? Whole story here about Christian groups who posted yesterday. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? You know what, guys? Here's what I want to do here. Let me take a break because when we come back, I think there's going to be some new. Well, we're about to get some pictures from the moon for the very first time, so I definitely want to see that. So, let me take a break because I got to go to the bathroom, and I also got to make a pot of coffee. I did not have any coffee, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to step away. We're going to come back. We got a whole bunch of show left to do. Just give me a little bit of a break here, and I'll come back. Give me about 5 minutes or so, okay? Five minutes sound good? Maybe a little more. Be like a regular radio station's commercial break. I promise you. A little bit longer than normal, but I'll come right back. And in the meantime, we'll check in with the astronauts, okay? We'll leave this feed up. All right, very good. Just give me a quick break, and we'll come back. We got a whole bunch more of show for you. Back after this, okay? All right, thank you. All right, everybody, we're back. We're back. Have they said anything the whole time we were gone, or are we just still looking at the crew there? All right. How far are we away from the next supposed record? Let me see. Sorry. Probably should have been things I did before I came back from that quick little break, but you couldn't keep me away from you folks. I needed to be with you. Hold on, I'll find out. We got to be within a couple of minutes of something big, right? I know there was something at like 1:45. Okay, come on, open up, you son of a... Yeah, 1:45. Lunar observation period begins. A 7-hour window where the astronauts will take okay, so let's tune in for that. Here we go. We are moments away from a lunar observation period and all that entails. This opens up okay, I'm not gonna play dumb. What they're doing now is they are in place for the next 7 hours to have some of the best and coolest views of the moon that we have ever seen. So let's jump back in with them. Let's see if they mark this moment in any way. Do we have sound up? Okay. All right. There's no countdown. What's going on here? Am I the only person that is like now checking off boxes of achievement? Come on. Yeah, there it is. Cold water. All right. 44 on my clock. Oh my God, wait a second. Am I not? Yeah, I'm not hitting play. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I almost screwed the pooch being stupid. Here we go. Okay. 44. Here we go. Still no countdown though. It's not guys, it's not frozen. It's just okay. Well, it's 1:45. We just passed a milestone. All right, we'll celebrate it here. We'll do that. Occurring now. Lunar observation period begins. This opens a 7-hour window where the astronauts will now take high-resolution photos and videos of the lunar surface. We've never had cameras like this. We're going to see shit. We're going to see the moon people if they do in fact exist. All right, so it looks like we've got how is Netflix covering this? Anybody want to jump on Netflix and see if they're maybe doing it with a little more fanfare? Wouldn't want to steal their signal because I imagine that they'll shut me down and run away, but we're using NASA because I'm a taxpayer, allegedly. You can't prove otherwise. NASA is taxpayer funded. Thankfully, happily. The kind of shit we should be cool with funding. All right. Oh, and by the way, I do want to say about the chat room, I do recognize
Houston integrity. We have two folks at the window deep in discussion talking about all of the awesome features that they're seeing. We just had a huge moment realizing that Hertzsprung is about the same size as our incredible Oriental. We're really excited about this target that's kind of new to us. We're orienting on things like how we talk about albedo, finding some of the prevalent things that we're used to from all of our training, and just overall taking in this view. We also are noticing that the moon is still getting noticeably bigger as we go, even when you're watching it continuously. It's great to see these two guys get warmed up.
All right, that's Christina.
We love the report, Christina. Thanks. And you nailed it on why we added Hertzsprung. As you'll see in the prompts, we're looking for comparisons to the comparatively much older Hertzsprung compared to the younger Oriental.
Nerd stuff! What? Man! Boy, I think my delay is irritating, huh?
This is Artemis Mission Control. That was the voice of Dr. Kelsey Young speaking with the astronauts aboard Orion as they begin their observation period and lunar flyby. NASA astronaut Christina Cook reporting their view of Hertzsprung Basin. The team here is looking for centered images of the basin at a full zoom, and they're hoping that the astronauts can image and describe the inner and outer rings. This is considered a degraded basin with a floor, rings, and ejecta compared to a younger Oriental basin.
All right. Well, look, I could just be hypnotized by this for the next 4 hours.
We spoke earlier with Julian Gross, the Artemis curation lead, about some of the terms we will hear the crew use today. One of those just called out, that's albedo, looking at surface brightness, or the amount of light a surface reflects.
Albedo. All right. We're going to go back to the show, all right? Because we got fun stuff we got to get into, but we're going to allow Artemis to stay down there in the corner. Let me see. Is there anything else that we need? I know that 544. 544 is the next thing of note that's going to happen today. That's going to be the communications blackout. The communications blackout, 544 our time. 544 our time. Then again, 6 o'clock. 5:44 our time, communications blackout, 6 o'clock our time. That's when we need to hear from them again. How have we not fixed that problem? How have we not fixed the whole dark side of the moon? Everything goes black and everybody's got to cross their fingers and sit on the edge of their seat for 20 minutes. How have we not fixed that? We still, anyway, never saw that problem in Battlestar Galactica. All right, so that's going to be at roughly 6:02 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight. That'll be the closest approach. Orion will reach its nearest point to the moon, flying roughly 4,000 miles above its surface. That'll be a close one, so that'll be good. Hopefully, we'll get some really cool pictures and all that good stuff. But again, nothing really more for the rest of today's show, today's planned show anyway. We've already been going for an hour and 50 minutes. It's a 2-hour show, typically in my head. It's going to be a little more than that because we got to talk about this story that caught my attention over the weekend. And I just thought, boy, if there was ever a tailor-made story for me to have fun with, this has got to be it. It's the story of, where's his name? Let me make sure. I got to give this guy his credit. Hold on. Oh, God, Google Chrome. I was in the wrong place. I was totally in the wrong place. All right, here we go. My dude's name is... when I click on it, that means I want to open it, okay? You don't have to go, are you sure? Yeah, you sure about that? Let's talk about Greg Phillips. Greg Phillips is the FEMA Director of Emergency Response and Recovery. He is, that's a high-ranking job in our government. It's not only a high-ranking job in our government, it's a fairly important job in our government. It is one of the... I suppose I might say rare occasions in our government with these jobs where there is a certain type of person that needs to lead this gig. Someone with compassion and empathy and a forethought into what could happen next. And, we want someone who's result-oriented. The guy, when a tornado rips through Joplin, Missouri, and, there are hundreds of people dead, our government does spring into action because that's the government we built, a compassionate government that cares for us. And then the guy that leads that is this guy, okay? Greg Phillips. So Greg Phillips made news over the weekend because apparently Greg Phillips believes in teleportation and says that he teleported to a Waffle House once. Let me be a contrarian, okay? What if it's true? What if it's true? That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, what if it's true? These Trump people, they don't know what's supposed to be secret. All they do, they just run their mouths and they say whatever interesting thing they think they need to say in order to keep the audience interested. It's what they do. What if it's true? What if it's something he's not supposed to be talking about, but he went, this podcast could use a bump. I'm going to admit that as the director of FEMA's Emergency Response and Recovery Department, I'm going to admit that I teleported to a Waffle House. This is not a fake story. This is real. A FEMA official is making headlines after he said he teleported to a North Georgia Waffle House. During an out-of-deleted podcast interview, Greg Phillips, who leads FEMA's Office of Recovery and Response, said that he teleported some 50 miles away. Here's a quote now. This is the guy who, when your grandma's house in North Texas gets flattened, we can't find grandma, and we desperately need to find grandma. The guy who was going to lead the the government response is this guy. Okay, that's who he is. Only the best people. Here's what he said. He said teleporting is no fun. It's not fun, guys. I don't know what you guys think about teleporting, but let me tell you, it ain't fun. Like, who is he talking to? He's talking to a room of people who think teleporting is... Guys, I don't know what your impression of teleporting is, but let me tell you something. I didn't shit right for 2 weeks. It does something. I can't explain it. Teleporting is no fun, he says. It was scary in a way, Phillips said. I was on the phone, Phillips said. I thought, oh my God, what's happening? And I landed about 40 miles away in a ditch outside of a Baptist church in a tiny little town. I don't know why I gave him this accent. I don't know why I gave him the accent. I got to start that again. Here he is. This is what he said. This is the guy who's going to help find your grandma who's been in a tree for 48 hours. Okay? He's the guy who's in charge of finding her. He's the guy who's going, should we check the trees? All right, so here's what he said on this podcast. Teleporting is no fun. It was scary in a way. I was on the phone. I thought, oh my God, what's happening? And then I landed about 40 miles away in a ditch outside of a Buddhist church in a little tiny town. It was an incredibly frightening moment to experience yourself in your car flying through the air. Oh, man. Sorry, Grandma. Is he the guy in charge of Nancy Guthrie? Is that what's happening? That's not a FEMA thing, right? Okay, thank God. But it would check a few boxes for us, I think. All right, what else? What else do we have on this guy? Says teleporting's no fun. Well, you can imagine. Sorry. He said, and I ended up at a Waffle House. This was in Georgia. I ended up at a Waffle House, like 50 miles away from where I was. It was the craziest thing. All right, let me read it again. I'm going to read the full thing. Teleporting is no fun. It was scary in a way. I was on the phone and I thought, oh my God, what's happening? And I landed about 40 miles away in a ditch outside of a Baptist church in a little tiny town. It was an incredibly frightening moment to experience yourself in your car flying through the air. Oh my God. Wait, he's got a second story. Oh my God, he has teleported more than once. Guys, it ain't fun. My God. We're seeing stars. It was weird. It was like, how you get that thing just before a migraine where you see stars? Well, I never got the migraine, but the stars and the crapping. I couldn't stop. It was a weird crapping thing for like 2 weeks. All right, so here he says on another occasion, this is the guy again who's going to find your grandma in the tree after the tornadoes ripped through Denton County. Okay. He says on another occasion, Philip said, I was with my boys and I was always roping the kids in. The kids wouldn't lie for Dad. On another occasion, Philip said, I was with my boys and I was telling them I was going to go to Waffle House and get Waffle House. And I ended up at a Waffle House. This was in Georgia, and I ended up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was. Oh, okay. So it is 2 instances where this guy's a regular teleporting fool. The guy who's going to help find your grandmother as the director of FEMA's recovery and response team. Greg Phillips is his name. So he goes, he's got multiple stories of teleporting. The first one, he says he was in his car. He's flying through the air on the phone. And he ended up in a ditch behind. I think he was drunk driving. That sounds like a drunk driving, and it sounds like typical MAGA bullshit because, depending on the ignorance of the people you're trying to sell this bag of shit to, they just might buy it. So he's like, teleporting. My wife's really dumb. I just gotta be honest, guys. Have you met my wife? It's really fucking stupid. Teleporting, that's it. I wasn't out drinking with my secretary. All right, so that's one. And then the second one, he says he was talking about Waffle House with his kid, and then suddenly it was at Waffle House. But he didn't get anything for his kid. I bet he just sat down and ate. I would. But you're like, you like get teleported to a Waffle House? Think about that. Well, we would think about it differently because he already had the previous teleporting experience. So he was probably pretty cool with it. But me, if I just like suddenly like, if right now I'm saying this and then boom, I'm in a Burger King in Alabama. Bing. I think I gotta sit down. I think I'm gonna have to sit down for a little bit. I might order something and try and figure out what the hell happened. Phillips added during his talk about teleporting and all that stuff. Phillips added, they said, "Where are you?" And I said, "A Waffle House." And "A Waffle House where?" And I said, "A Waffle House in Rome, Georgia." Oh, okay. Are you seeing this story? Are you seeing who's they? Obviously, they is his wife and kids. Because he roped his kids into it. He's like, yeah, my kid was talking about Waffle House, and then I woke up in a Waffle House. So here's probably what happened. Early in the week, there was probably a mention of Waffle House that was everybody in the family heard. And then like he went away on a business trip for the weekend, or maybe he went hunting with the boys or something. But what he really did, he probably went off on some ecstasy-fueled like gay bathhouse excursion. He was down in probably somewhere outside. I don't know where Rome, Georgia is, and I don't even know where this guy lives. But, finally, he decides to reach out to his wife's like, "Where are you?" And he's in a Waffle House. He's like, "I'm in a Waffle House." He's been doing ecstasy and having sex with men outside for like, a weekend. But no, he's like, "Hi, honey, I'm in a Waffle House." And she's like, "What are you doing in a Waffle House?" And remember, his wife's dumb. So he's like, remember when Timmy was talking about Waffle House on Thursday? Yeah, I don't remember anything past that. He said that, and now here I am, and I'm in a Waffle House. And she's like, "Are you teleporting again?" And he's like, "I think so." And he's like, "You get your ass home." See, he's got it figured out at home. But unfortunately, the story, he probably went on like his wife's friend's podcast, and he knew his wife would be listening. So he had to stick with the teleporting story. And now we're here. Phillips added, they said, his family, they said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in a Waffle House." "In a Waffle House where?" they said. And I said, "A Waffle House in Rome, Georgia." Oh, that Greg. Greg's got some secrets. Greg got some secrets, I think. Secrets like the dude who runs CPAC. What's that guy's name? The guy who gives hand jobs to unwanted hand jobs to interns. The guy who runs CPAC, the Family Values Christian MAGA guy. I can't think of his name. Anyway, Greg Phillips, I think, also has some secrets because, he's selling a bag of shit to his wife. It says here, the New York Times spoke with several people who work for Waffle House in Rome, and no one remembers seeing Phillips. That's so, you know what, New York Times, go kick rocks, you jerks. What, did he say when this was? Maybe he did. Are we banking on the fact that it's the same people at the Waffle House that don't have turnover? Like, I was thinking he told these stories years ago. Like, I was thinking like not these stories. I think he told the stories recently. But I was under the impression that these stories occurred long ago in the past. Or is teleporting a recent thing? So it's new. It's new to me. I've done it twice. I've done it twice now. Since that gay bathhouse opened up outside town. I'm teleporting places. People don't know where I am for hours at a time. And then I just show up at a Waffle House. Phillips recently took to Truth Social to defend what he said. All right, because, people, this was over the weekend. Because people are like, all right, I see you, Greg Phillips. Come on. Your little stupid personal universe might be ignorant as fuck, but the rest of us were like, yeah, something's going on. You came up with a way, Greg Phillips, to explain to your wife why you go missing for periods of time. And you're leaning into teleporting because your wife's stupid. Okay, but the rest of us don't have to buy it. So he got mad and he went on Truth Social. Because of course he did. Truth Social. Because here's what he's got to do. He's worried. He's got, this is why. He knows that, it doesn't matter what people are saying. They don't care. These MAGA people, they're impervious to it. It doesn't really matter. But Trump's going to see this story. That's the thing, because this is the kind of story that Trump sees. What? Who's this? And then he's yelling to Stephen Miller from the bathroom because he makes Stephen Miller stay there. Stephen Miller's got to stay. He cracks the door. Like Stephen Miller can look side eyes and he can see Trump's like legs with the pants pulled down sitting on the shitter. And he makes him crack the door because Trump wants Stephen to smell it. You know, it's just one of his little fucking CEO head games. Anyway, so Trump's going, hey, Stephen, who's this kook who's teleporting? He's making us look bad, right? And so that's the fear that Greg Phillips had. So Greg Phillips heads that off at the pass. He goes on Truth Social, and guess what he does? On Easter Sunday, he went and got God involved. Yeah, he got God. He didn't say that he didn't say teleport. Oh man, you kidding me? This is about what his wife believes at this point. He's got to stay with the teleporting thing. But now, if we doubt him on the teleporting thing, God's mad at us. God's mad at us. Here's what he had to say. He said, God will not be mocked. That's Sunday. God will not be mocked. People can debate me, question me, even ridicule what they don't understand. I know what I've experienced. I know who I served. Like, what? Come on, man. All right. It's fun. It's fun. But there are too many of us that he thinks, and he thinks because, he was probably dog catcher outside Athens, Georgia 10 years ago. And now all of a sudden he's like a fucking big shooter in FEMA. He's seen it. He knows the way to play the game now in order to elevate your own self personally. He's not going to back down from this. God will not be mocked. People can debate me. People can question me, even ridicule what they don't understand. I know what I've experienced. I know who I serve. In a statement from FEMA, the agency said, so the agency's getting involved. Who's the director of FEMA? Feels like that's someone we should know. We don't know this guy. Well, we know this guy now. He's probably going to end up being the director of FEMA. The teleport guy. He's trending again. It says the New York Times spoke with several people who work for Waffle House in Rome, Georgia, and no one remembers seeing Phillips. Is that what's at debate? Are you fucking kidding me? Waffle House people don't remember a rando? Honestly, that's not the question. New York Times. We don't care about the Waffle House. That's interesting. That's what we send people to the Waffle House. Get on the teleportation question, New York Times. The Waffle House. We sent reporters to the Waffle House. That's so stupid. The DHS and FEMA. All right, so here's the statement from FEMA. The agency said DHS, FEMA, and Mr. Phillips are focused on the critical mission of emergency management and ensuring the safety of the American people. That's why we're concerned. Because, look, man, why can't we have very good weather prediction systems? We know when a hurricane is coming. Somebody in your rank seems to know how to teleport people. Maybe that's something we can do to save lives during the next hurricane season. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. DHS, FEMA, and Mr. Phillips are focused on the critical mission of emergency management and ensuring the safety of the American people. Many of the comments cited are taken out of context or represented personal, informal, jovial, and somewhat spiritual discussions made in the context of barely surviving cancer. He had a nodule on his nut when he was 19. And you people, come on, you don't need to bring that up. There's no need to bring that up. I'd say what you will about him, but he had cancer. Cancer. Ha, I win. You can't talk anything about him now because he's a cancer survivor. Maybe he was going through it at the time. All right. And maybe that's their way of saying his brains was the scramblies with the radiation treatments. All right. Maybe. I don't know. Knock on wood. I don't have any experience with that. Phillips was scheduled to testify before the House Homeland Security Committee last week, but he did not appear after his Hold on. Phillips was scheduled to testify before the House Homeland Security Committee last week, but didn't appear after his teleportation comments surfaced. Oh, yeah, they were like, well, they didn't know how to handle it. They're like, because that doesn't that sound like that would be a fun one that they would do in that a ratings getter? Like for C-SPAN, we're gonna have the guy who says he teleports to Waffle Houses on. He's gonna testify. We tune in for that. But no, he was scheduled, and they're like, wait, this is the teleportation guy? And they're like, yeah. They're like, no, not yet. We don't know. We got to be told how we're supposed to handle him. So he had to go. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, is this the teleportation guy? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. This was a CNN report. Apparently, they're the first ones to have broken the story, these CNN K files, which they're very proud of over there, but not entirely sure what they are. But here we go. This is my girl Brianna Keeler. We used to be friends on Twitter back in the day. She used to follow me and we used to DM a little bit. I think she thought I was gay. I'm not kidding. I think she thought I was a gay guy. Don't know why that is. That's it was very upsetting to me. But anyway, here you go. This is Brianna Keeler talking about the story that we just told you about. Greg Phillips, the director of recovery and saving grandma from the tree for FEMA, claims that he teleports all the time.
Tonight, an update to an exclusive K-File report you saw first here on Outfront. New fallout over a top FEMA official's claim that he was teleported, yes, teleported, to a Waffle House. Yes, Waffle House, miles away. Democratic lawmakers have been raising concerns about those comments and about the FEMA official himself, Greg Phillips, after CNN's K-File reporting revealed, among other concerning comments, this claim Phillips made on a podcast last year.
We had a teleport incident, 2 of them, which transported me about 40.
Just for context of this whole story, we need to take note. All right, this was well over a year ago. This was not, if you're thinking he just said it, this is well over a year ago. All right, if that changes it for you in any way, shape, or form, it's still wild as fuck. So, but let's watch.
30 miles from where I was and near Albany, Georgia.
Man, I shouldn't have interrupted him. We got to let him go.
This claim Phillips made on a podcast last year.
We had a teleport incident, 2 of them, which transported me about 40 miles from where I was and near Albany, Georgia, to the ditch of a church. I ended up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was. It was an incredibly frightening moment to experience yourself in your car flying through the air. It was possible. It was real.
Okay.
K-File's Andrew Kaczynski broke the story. He's with us.
Important for us to see that because it didn't sound like he was kidding. It sounded like he truly believes this, and this is something that he's saying happens. Now, my problem with it is that somebody who has a job that is that high up, if this was real, wouldn't he think twice about divulging this kind of stuff? It just seems like maybe you shouldn't be talking about it if it's really real, considering what your job is. And I would imagine, but he's doing it anyway. And because of his job, instead of going, well, no, it's got credibility because of his job, I think what normal people are doing are going, no, he's got too important of a job to be that crazy of a weirdo. Even if it is true, which is how I started this whole thing. What if it is true? And if it is true, again, hurricane season coming, can't we teleport all of the people that are in hurricanes' paths into safety? Let's go. You're holding out on us, FEMA. Greg Phillips says he's got breakthrough technology that he's used twice to great success. All right, let's keep watching.
Now, Andrew, what exactly is Phillips saying now, and how is he explaining these claims?
Brianna, Phillips is doubling down on his teleportation claims in a series of new social media posts over the last week. Phillips, who oversees the government's disaster response, is defending those remarks, saying they were part of a religious experience and citing examples in the Bible, while also accusing critics of taking them out of context. Haters gonna hate. That's what Phillips wrote in one of a handful of comments over the past month on social media, not backing away from his claims, but defending them and doubling down all of those coming in the days following CNN's reporting. On Truth Social, Phillips defended himself by writing in one post, "I have no regrets for my words, nor my faith in my Savior Jesus Christ. The Bible has many examples of the power of God." In that same thread, he then shared a passage from the book of Acts, describing the Apostle Philip being, quote, snatched away by the Holy Spirit and appearing miles away. And when another user asked him directly if he had experienced something like that himself, Phillips responded yes, adding, quote, "The Bible calls it transported or translated." That post has been deleted since our reporting. Now, we asked FEMA and Phillips which part was taken out of context, but we have yet to hear back. But Phillips did post a lengthy response to our story on Truth Social on Wednesday, writing that the podcast occurred while undergoing cancer treatment and, quote, "The podcast at the center of this controversy was part of chronicling that journey, and during that journey, things happened that I can't explain." This all comes after Phillips failed to appear at a House Homeland Security meeting last week, where he had been scheduled to testify on the impact of the partial shutdown on DHS. That is the agency that oversees FEMA. Now, neither Phillips nor FEMA responded to CNN's question about why he didn't appear, but again, it occurred several days after CNN's reporting. Multiple Democratic lawmakers at that hearing saying that Phillips' past...
All right, there you have it. He's not backing down, and if you think he's crazy, then you don't love God as much as him, because it's all about God, baby. Oh, you don't... Oh, really? Honey, tell these people how... And the wife comes out, and she's like, "No, y'all, it's true. It's true, y'all." Oh, man, those people are so weird. Now, but, let's be fair. Let's be fair about that. Those people are weird. But have they always been weird? Like, has the dude in charge... We've never known the dude in charge of emergency response for FEMA before. We've never had to. But, was the guy who sat in that chair in 1994, was he, dressing up as, like, Wiccans on weekends and going out and worshiping tree? I don't know. Maybe we're learning all of this stuff about these weirdos. Maybe we're just learning more because, stories and uncovered investigative journalists and all that, they can now spread their shit social media. So we're more exposed to it. It's like kids didn't start disappearing when we started putting kids on, milk cans. It's not like that's when missing kids became a thing in this country. Kids were always missing. It's just awareness became something that we started talking about more. So it seemed like kids started going missing in the 80s. And they didn't. We just didn't talk about it before. So I don't know. But I do think that there is a particularly odd breed of individual currently working the bureaucratic steps within our government. It's a weird group of people, man. It's a weird group of people. All right, let's see. What else do we have that we want to get into? Let's check in with another story from last week. We talking about the NBA and Jaden Ivey and how he's having a mental breakdown and all that kind of stuff. But he's trying to say, no, I'm not having a mental breakdown. You're persecuting me because I'm a Christian. And, enough stories have been written and all that. And it's obvious that he needs help at this point. So has anybody been able to break through the Jaden Ivey? That would be the question we'd all like to know. What's Jaden Ivey up to these days? Well, here he is. He's preaching on a street corner in Alabama.
Hey, free you, Jaden Ivey.
Blessed are the pure in heart.
This guy was the number 4 draft pick in the NBA draft about 3 years ago. And the team that drafted him that high, the Detroit Pistons, they put him in a package deal with the Chicago Bulls about a month ago. And we thought, we're like, oh my God, really? We're getting Jaden Ivey? They're giving up on him already? All right, whatever. They must really want Vooch or whoever the hell it was that we sent over there. So we thought, we had found gold. Number 4 overall pick from just a couple of years ago. And, he immediately got hurt. He was only on the Bulls for I think 3 or 4 games before they put him on season-ending, injury. Now, there has been some talk about what that season-ending injury was, because he claims that Jesus healed his knee and that he is perfectly fine and perfectly physically fit to play. There has since been a lot of stories that the Bulls were like, no, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and we just need to end his season now, and we need to try and get him help and all that kind of stuff. We now understand why the Detroit Pistons got rid of him. His wife left. He's like, my wife won't talk to me. It's like, because, sir, with all due respect, you need help. And unfortunately, you're incredibly wealthy. You can spin on your own for a while. You can keep checking into nice hotels as long as you don't get arrested. Burn through your cash in whatever way you want. I mean, look, man, it's dangerous. He should be committed. He should be getting the help that his career doesn't have to be over. But, instead, he's still out there in the wind, and this is him on the streets of Alabama, some corner there. I don't know where it is, Birmingham or something. He's doing the street preacher bit, and of course, people on social media found him.
Hey, for you, Jane, I'm a tree and life. But my boyfriend brought the same. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Yeah. Hey, for you, Jane, I'm a tree and life.
All right, there he is. Now, understand.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.
Understand that he was doing that in the locker room in both Detroit and Chicago. And he was not only just doing that, like you could maybe, spin that into, oh, he's getting us all riled up, whatever. Except he was also being confrontational to players that didn't share his Christian faith in the locker room. Told you about the story of the Bulls, about he stacked up tables and climbed like 14 feet in the air and started preaching about how he was casting judgment on all their fornicating ways. That's when the Bulls shut him down. They're like, he's got a knee. And he's like, what do you mean? My knee's great. Jesus healed my knee. And they're like, it's a knee. We're going to go with the knee. We'll go with the knee because we think you still have a future, young man. And he's like, no, Jesus healed me and the Bulls don't want me. And then he tweeted about gays and Pride Night and how Catholicism is fraudulent. And that was a shot at Billy Donovan, who is one of the most Catholic head coaches in the league. And, he coaches in Chicago, which is a very Catholic. Anyway, somebody needs to get him help. He's still out there. He's in the wind, and nobody has gained control over Jaden Ivey. Hell, Kanye disappears for 2 months at a time all the time, and he's now doing concerts in LA over the weekend. So doesn't have to be over for you, Jaden Ivey. You can get your shit together. It's just that's a scary one too, because that's a big dude, man. That's an NBA player. That's a young, athletic. If you're gonna force this guy into a straitjacket and commit him against his will, you're gonna have to bring the beef, the real beef. You have to bring big dudes who can subdue him, because that could get ugly. We saw it here in Chicago a bunch of years ago. We had a defensive end. We had a badass, crazy, literally. We just thought he was an animal with a huge motor on the field. His name was Alonzo Spellman. He never quite turned into the football player that he should have because he had severe bipolar disorder. We know this now. We didn't know it back in 1995. But Alonzo Spellman of the Chicago Bears got himself into a standoff with a SWAT team. That's always the first problem. That's the first clue. Got himself into a standoff with a SWAT team. And then Mike Singletary had to go. The SWAT team let Mike Singletary go in there and sort of preach to Alonzo. And he got Alonzo to come out, and the SWAT team went home. And Alonzo went to the crazy bin for a little bit to get himself help. He went willingly, apparently, because Mike Singletary, I'm just saying, Alonzo was like, oh shit, Mike's here. Like maybe that resonated with him as being somebody that he would listen to. So whatever, it worked. So Alonzo Spellman, and again, I'm just trying to describe some of the problems they might have trying to get Jaden Ivey committed against his will. Alonzo Spellman gets committed, and he, I guess, took a nap, and he woke up from a nap, looked around and went, yeah, I don't want to be here. And he pulled all these tubes out, and they all jumped him in the hallways, all the security. And this is Alonzo's, he just threw people like Hulk smash. And he literally tried to walk home from the hospital. He was found. The police finally got him. He was walking down a major road in hospital gown with his ass hanging out. It's hard to get, this ain't your 19-year-old weird emo son who's acting weird. You can get him in a straitjacket pretty easy. Jaden Ivey, hey, he's going to spin out there. NBA player with money. All right, let's see. What else do we have? What do we want to talk about here? So, we're going to save this story. Well, this is a really good story. It's an evergreen story. It didn't just happen, but I saw it, so we're going to skip over it. You don't need to tell them that, Pugs. They don't know that you're skipping over a story. I know, but it's just my commitment to authenticity that stops me from, being a better governor of time. All right, so let's talk about this one. You want to talk about scary. This happened, I think this was in Arizona. Maybe it's Las Vegas. I'm not sure. I don't care. It's just a video, and I've got thoughts on it. I wanted to talk about it because it occurred over the weekend. I don't know if any of you guys have road rage. I do, but I'm like, I just do it to vent, in my car. I don't do it at people. Like, I don't pull up next to a guy and go, rah, rah, and start screaming. No, but if somebody does something dickish, I will just maintain my calm and I will let off, a little bit. Oh, fuck that guy, but never confrontational because people are nuts. People are nuts, man, right? How far people are willing to go in a moment of madness is just not something that I'm willing to gamble with. So I don't need to be getting sideways with complete strangers in public places these days, and neither should you. Control your ego, and you don't have to look like a pussy. There is a middle ground where you can handle this. So I used to have a problem with I used to have a real problem with road rage. I used to get so mad. I had a couple of tricks I used to do. I won't bore you with them, but there was a couple of tricks. I'll give you my favorite trick. I would pull up next to somebody, and then I would leave space, and I would point to a parking lot like we were in I'd be pull right there. Let's go. Pull right there. Go in, right? So I'm looking at, go, motherfucker, go, right that. And then they pull in front of you, and then they turn into the parking lot, and then you just keep going. That was my favorite one. No, come on, stupid. Get in front. No, you. Hey, turn in right there. I'll meet you in the Tire Express parking lot. Turn it. Go. Pull in. I'm right behind. And then don't be behind him. And then just pull out. And he's like, and you won. But, other than that, you got to control your road rage because you don't know who's out there. Case in point, do you guys know who John Jones is? John Jones is the greatest thrower of hands that the world has ever known. Don't come at me with Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. John Jones will beat the fuck out of both of those guys in their prime. Go ahead, throw Bruce Lee in there. John Jones is a legitimately demonstrated king in the world of throwing hands. World's most dangerous man. They can't make anybody that can beat him in the UFC other than John Jones himself. The only losses on his career, one, he's got, is it the one? Yeah, he's got the one. He ain't lost yet. He's got the one loss that came against Mark Hamill, Mark Hamlin, the deaf guy. They made a movie about him, the deaf kid, the deaf wrestler. Anyway, it's the one loss on John Jones's record. And you want to know what the loss is for? He beat the fuck out of the guy too much. Like, hey, stop. He didn't stop. They were trying to stop the fight, and he didn't stop soon enough. And so they're like, okay, you didn't actually win. And he's like, as they're rushing, the opponent to the hospital. The guy who's going to the hospital, he won. You didn't win. That's like the only loss on his record. This dude has gone up to heavyweight, lightweight, or middleweight. And I remembered to check the secondary mic. Not at first, mind you. I said a couple of sentences before I checked the secondary mic, and then I went, oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys. That happens. Don't know why, but it's going to happen. So what I just said was, I said, stop running your mouth to total strangers because you never know who the hell you're running your mouth to. In this poor guy's case, he started running his mouth at John Jones. That's right, the greatest fighter who's ever lived. Now, this is a bit more troubling because John Jones has a history of not handling these.
Trying to get in.
Hold on, not handling these situations very well. John, like I said, the only person that's able to beat John Jones is John Jones. John Jones likes cocaine. John Jones likes strippers, and he likes beating ass. And he's lost championships. Why? Because belts have been stripped for him because he couldn't pass a cocaine test or something, which is amazing because cocaine leaves your system in like 48 hours. So this guy can't pass a cocaine test for a fight that he knows is coming up well in advance. Anyway, like I said, the only person that can beat John Jones is John Jones himself. Here's video of some dude who got into a road rage incident with the greatest fighter who's ever lived, and it almost went bad.
What, bro? Trying to get into? You're almost fucking hitting me, bro.
Okay. All right. See, now that's the thing that people are troubled by right there. Okay. What is this indicating? This is the greatest fighter in the world. This dude has no chance. This rando in a parking lot has no chance. I don't know if he knows it. I don't know. I would recognize him immediately and I'd go, what up, King? I would totally change my tone. But this is troubling. What is John Bones Jones trying to signal here with his hand in his pocket? And all right, let's watch it again. Here we go. One guy in the world that doesn't need a gun.
What, bro? Trying to get into? You're almost fucking hitting me, bro.
Most likely packing a gun from the look of his hand in jacket.
You gotta calm down, bro.
Yeah, bro, you gotta learn how to drive, bro. You
gotta relax yourself, bro.
You're almost hitting me with your truck, bro. You're almost hitting me, bro. What the fuck? In my fucking lane and shit, bro. Come on.
All right, one more time.
What, bro? Trying to get into? You're almost fucking hitting me, bro.
That's what's got the police involved now.
Yeah, bro, you gotta learn how to drive, bro. You
gotta relax yourself, bro.
You're almost hitting me with your truck, bro. You're almost hitting me, bro. What the fuck?
All right, there you have it. Anyway, in my fucking lane and shit, bro. Come on, just don't run your mouth. Yeah, that guy's lucky. He got. Look, that shows growth for Johnny Bones Jones. That shows growth that he wasn't, drunk, raging on cocaine, and didn't put that guy through the hood of his car because that was an option for him. Instead, he just menacingly approached with what many can interpret as maybe a threat of gun violence. That's the problem. All right, let's see here. What else do we have to pick through from today? We did that. Here's one. Okay, so I don't know. Easter was over the weekend. I told you last week about Reuben. Remember Reuben? Reuben in the Philippines. They nailed him to the cross in a reenactment of the crucifixion of Christ every year for the past 37 years. And that Reuben, he's been a good sport about it. He's been doing it for 37 years, doing the whole bit too, trekking with the cross and wearing the crowny thorns and, getting whipped and all that. Although this year he said, look, guys, getting a little bit old. This is my last year. Maybe we don't do the whipping part. And they're like, okay, fine. Fine. If you want to do half-ass for Jesus, that's fine. Told you this story last week. So, and Reuben's like, well, yeah, I think Jesus understands at this point. I feel I'm closer to Jesus than you, the fucking promoter of this event, who charges for t-shirts, and I don't get a piece of that. 37 years, old Reuben. I got hands like ground beef. I don't even get a piece of the t-shirt concession. Come on, man. So Reuben, we told you his story. He's not gonna do it anymore. He's done 37 years. Let's see how it went for Reuben. Reuben, here he goes. There's Reuben. Look at him. Oh, look at him. He's glorious. And whip him this time. Look at him. He's up there. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. All right, let's watch it again. Here he goes. Oh, yeah, they got him nailed up there. He's not go. Oh, is he not nailed? That looked fishy. Nah, it's not fishy. But here you go. Let's watch it again. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Jesus saves. But he's just a little bit too short on the catch for that one, I guess. All right, guys, here's the truth. That's not Ruben. Ruben is the one. That's some dude in Nigeria. That guy, he's a poser. He wasn't even nailed to that cross. Ruben gets nailed to the cross. That guy's just a poser. But wouldn't that be funny if that was Ruben? I thought that was funny anyway. Do we have a story on this? Yeah, okay, so let's learn about that guy. Because would you believe that there's a whole bunch of people? Look, don't worry about it. Being devoutly Christian to that extent doesn't mean you're crazy. Would you believe that there are like a whole bunch of people who do it? But I think Ruben's the only one. I think Ruben in the Philippines, who's given up after this year, I think that he's the only one who like goes through the actual pound the nails through the hands. It says here the man in the Philippines is Ruben Inaji. He's a carpenter, just like Jesus, and a sign painter from the village of San Pedro. We talked about him last week. He completed this past weekend the 37th and final crucifixion. He did it on Good Friday. Ruben took a vow. He began his annual ritual in 1986 as an act of thanksgiving after surviving a fall from a roof. So he fell off a roof, Ruben did, back in the 80s, and he got up, and they're like, are you okay? And he's like, sure. And then he committed himself to being crucified. I think they should have went, are you certain you're okay before you commit to anything? I'm fine. Let's see here. We do have information on the falling incident. It says the falling incident is a different person. Let's see here. Ruben famously survived a fall from a building. That's what started his whole thing. The person who fell over the weekend is most likely described as a man in Nigeria who fell from a tall wooden cross during a passion reenactment. Unlike Inaji, who is physically nailed to the cross with 4-inch steel nails, the man in Nigeria's reenactment appears to lose his balance and tumble forward. And yeah, we saw him. He's the guy in Nigeria is a poser, which is strange. Because you wouldn't think that, right? I mean, you would think that Nigeria would be every bit as nutty as the people in the Philippines. Although I think I told you about being raised around Filipino people. They are nuts. Women are really cute and they are nuts. The food's pretty good too, but they are nuts. Badass, crazy people. Filipinos. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? Should we check back? Let's check back in here with the Artemis crew. Let's see what the latest is there. Are they talking? Because I like when they talk. What is this? They're describing something?
But they actually stand out.
Oh, are these new places or are these the old places? Where's Carol? Remember they named a place for Carol, one of their former astronauts who died? And suddenly the sound is off again. All right, there you go. There you have it. Nothing big is going to happen again for the Artemis crew until about 5:45, okay? All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Bum, 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 bum. All right. Am I back on? We hope so, right? We're back on. All right. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about here? Here's a little funny video. Yeah, I'll show you this one. Look at this. So this is a pretty cool moment. Some dude who plays for the what did he do? I don't know. He did something awesome. I don't remember what it was. Some dude who plays for the San Francisco Giants. He made his Major League Baseball debut And he did something amazing. I don't know if it was like a walk-off home run or whatever it was, but it was a really big deal. And his family was there in the stands. You know, I mean, it's a major league debut, so it gets everybody involved. So the whole family shows up. They're in the stands. This kid, Daniel Susick is his name. Daniel Susick has himself one hell of a day making his Major League Baseball debut. And they cut to his family in the stands who are going nuts, all except for, I don't know, I'm going to say his nephew. His nephew, who is not old enough to really, you see him? Look at this little guy right here. Everybody in Daniel Susick's family is going nuts. And the nephew is not enjoying it one bit. Let's watch.
Look at this little guy. He's killing me.
Yeah, look at mom. Yeah, let baby go back to mom. He's like, what is happening?
Look at this little guy.
Look at him.
He's killing me.
Oh, man. Look at yes. I can watch this all day. It's hypnotic.
Look at this little guy. He's killing me.
I love it. Dad don't give a shit. Dad's like, oh, he's fine. I'm not going to put him down. This is a moment. Yeah, he's going to be traumatized for the rest of his life. It's baseball. That's how a lot of us become lifelong fans of baseball. Trauma. You don't think trauma is at the heart of my White Sox fandom? Come on. Look at him. I mean, he's got to go to mom.
Look at this little guy. He's killing me.
Okay. All right, there you have it. I love that video. I love that video. All right, tonight is the big NCAA Final Four championship game. It is featuring the UConn Huskies and the Michigan Wolverines. We picked the games on Friday. We didn't do good. We got Illinois. The Illinois game was it was fine. It was fine. The offense just wasn't there. The offense wasn't there the way it was. And I don't know if that's just because it wasn't there, or if it was because UConn presented something. And you know what? Honestly, they played UConn earlier in the season and they got blown out by UConn then. So, they cut it. It was a little bit closer. It wasn't, a game that came down to the final 2 minutes or anything. The Illini got beat. Congratulations. Bill Murray, got to see Bill Murray, which was weird because Bill Murray went to the University of Illinois, but his son was a coach at Connecticut. And his son's now a coach at Boston College, but his son was a longtime bench coach for Danny Hurley there at Connecticut. So it looks like Bill Murray is now like a full-time UConn fan, which is good. Why wouldn't you be? It's been a really nice couple of years for the University of Connecticut. I mean, they're arguably a dynasty, although I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think Danny Hurley is going to get another championship because I do believe that I think Michigan's going to win. I think Michigan's too much. Michigan's a machine. Michigan came roaring out of the Big Ten. They're a machine. But oh man, I loved my Illini this year. I didn't talk a whole bunch about it because why? I talk very little about the Bears, but that's NFL, and I think that maybe somebody might connect with that. Illini? I'm going to talk about my Illini? I don't think so. I don't even, watch other teams until the announcement of the tournament. I only watch. I told you, I'm only really interested in the tournament based on 3 teams' performance: University of Notre Dame, University of DePaul here in Chicago, and the University of Illinois down there in Champaign. And the Illini have always been really exciting. They're a fun team. I love this team. They'll be back. Brett Underwood's a great coach. This program there is fantastic. But they lost. Not according to the Kelly metric. A native warrior should have easily been able to defeat a Husky dog. But, they train them. They feed them. They could kill them. Yeah. But that's not how it played out. They were good. Tonight, big game, national championship game. What is it on? Is it on Netflix? I mean, I had the damnedest time trying to find this game on Saturday. The Illini UConn game. I couldn't find it because I don't have, channels. I got to go to an app and make sure I'm subscribed to either that app or the parent company that owns that app. And I've got it bundled somehow. I did. I was able to do that. So, but I don't know where to tell you about the game tonight. No clue. CBS maybe. Paramount if you don't have CBS, because Paramount. We live in an era where if we want to understand and enjoy television to the highest, we have to understand companies and their parent companies. It's like we got to know that Disney owns everything. So if you want to watch ESPN, but you don't have cable, so you don't have access to ESPN, if you have the Disney app, you have access to ESPN. People don't know that. All right, what else do we have to talk about the game? Oh, you know what? Here, this is what I'll talk about. Okay, let me have a little fun here. This is just one for me. As we wrap up today's show, I do want to remind you it is Pledge Week. So please, folks, if you can, help the show out in any way, shape, or form. This kind of talk radio doesn't exist anywhere else. It's real talk for normal people every day. So please help us out. Pledge Week. Don't have a number yet. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. It's too depressing. It's too depressing when I have to do the accounting. But if we don't pay our bills by the end of this week, then we are cooked. So you know the drill. We do it all the time. Let me tell you something that I don't talk enough about. I love TV. We're going to talk a little bit about TV, and I'm going to put on your plate a series that maybe you're watching, maybe you're not watching. We live in difficult times to really get hung up on series because there doesn't seem to be any sort of pattern of when seasons follow each other. It's very willy-nilly. You can watch a season of your favorite new show on Apple TV, and then 2 years later, you're like, oh, there's another. Oh, that's right. I like that show. But by that point, you've completely forgotten. It's, oh, Jesus, do I got to binge watch the first season now to get prepared for the second season? So I don't know. That's at least how I enjoy my favorite shows. So over the weekend, one of my favorite shows, one that I would argue is currently, especially now that Succession is gone, currently might be the best show on television. I think it's the best done show. I think it's the most compelling. I think it's the best acted. I think it's the best show in all of television. And it's in its 5th season. And it seems like every season just sneaks up on me where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We got a new season. All right, so now what happened last season? Oh shit, I got to re-binge the whole thing again. So that's where I am with Apple TV's For All Mankind. Now, fantastic timing, I think, for the best show on Apple TV. And Apple TV, that's not a low bar. Apple TV, I think, has got a lot of terrific original programming. But I would have to say, even with the sometimes on again, off again presence of slow horses, season for season, we're in 5 seasons now. 5 seasons of 10 episodes. Slow Horses is 4 seasons of 6 episodes. I give the nod. Slow Horses is so good too. If you're not watching Slow Horses, For All Mankind though, For All Mankind is the best thing that Apple TV seems to be invested in. So what is For All Mankind? Well, they timed this perfect. The new season began on Friday, where I think they uploaded 2 episodes of season 5 of For All Mankind on Apple TV. It's an alternative history. I don't know if you like this genre or not. I happen to love this genre. Maybe you've seen The Man in the High Castle. That's an alternative history. I think Netflix just posted recently in the last couple of months the 1963, right? That alternative history. What alternative history is it takes a situation that actually occurred and then says, what if it didn't? How would the world have changed? It's a whole butterfly effect kind of thing. The butterfly, a butterfly in a jungle in Asia flaps its wings. And with every flap, it changes the world around it. And that changes the world around it. And before we know it, we're getting a divorce because a butterfly flapped its wings. Everything's connected. Anyway, so what would happen, if something significant never occurred? What would have happened? So that's the premise of the overall genre of alternative histories. But For All Mankind suggests what would have happened if what would have happened if the Russians had landed on the moon a week before July 20th, 1969. What would the American government and our commitment to space, what would have happened if we lost? And that's the first scene of season 1 of episode 1. Everybody is sitting around their TVs, a scene we've seen a million times. America watching the moon landing, everybody around the world gathered around TV. So that's the opening scene. except it's revealed as the camera pulls back and we see the first live shots from the moon. We see that it's a CCCP flag. So that's the premise of For All Mankind. It is set in the real world. It is littered with real people. All of the original, if you saw The Right Stuff, all of those guys are represented. All of, the names we know associated with NASA, Deke Slayton, Gene Kranz, all of these guys are portrayed. These are real people. But it starts to diverge from real history, right, as soon as we accept that the Russians got there first. So the question of the series is, how would America have responded if we didn't get to the moon first? And this series says that America would have responded by doubling down on space, that we would have moved the goalpost. If Russia had landed on the moon first, we would have said congratulations to them, but the goal is a moon base. And America then would have put American moon base first. And that would have been done by like 1972. Anyway, this is the premise of the series. And every season takes place over another 10-year span. So the series opens up in 1970 or, July of 1969. So season 1 is all the 1970s. And it shows you what the 1970s of space would have been like if we hadn't abandoned all of the things that we were doing with Apollo for the space shuttle program. They also depict us having the space shuttle program because it was needed, but we were doing incredible things at the same time. We were doing more than one thing because, again, the general public didn't turn on NASA. The general public got bored with NASA after we won the space race. So again, the premise of the series is that we didn't win the space race, or we did, but we moved the goalpost from being first person on the moon to first person to occupy a full-time base up there. And again, we did that by like 1972. All right. So that's the premise. Now I want to show you, and again, perfect timing because of the Artemis stuff, right? I mean, everybody, the Artemis thing is a pretty big news story this weekend. So Apple TV is like, yeah, you like this stuff? You want to see this stuff? Here's how it was done. And it's also created by Ronald D. Moore. And if you are a fan of really high-end television and really lofty kind of concepts and, smart people dialogue, then Ronald D. Moore. Ronald D. Moore took over the Battlestar Galactica franchise. Battlestar Galactica was a stupid show from the 1970s. And then around 2005, Ronald D. Moore got a hold of it and said, yeah, but what if we reimagined it this way? And it's one of the greatest television series of all time. So, this is Ronald D. Moore asking the question, what if the Russians beat us? All right, so here's what I want to do here, and we'll do a little something else here as well. But I want to show you, because season 5 just started, right? So what I want to show you, hold on, I was waiting for my kid. Sorry. So I want to show you, I can't, hold on. Got to cancel it out. My kid went dark on Easter. I was so mad. I got to tell you this. All right, so quick aside. So my kid down there in Texas, I'm waiting all day. I'm like, why aren't you going to? Well, here's what I forgot. He works now. And he might have been working, I don't know if they're closed on it, but he only works on Saturdays and Sundays because he's a very serious, dedicated student. So he works on Saturdays and Sundays, and we think he was working. So I called him twice, went to voicemail. And at 10 o'clock last night, I just sent him a text. Hello. Like the way only a dad can. Hello. The hell. And then he sends back, hello, right back, which made me feel good because I'm like, oh, at least he's alive, right? Right? Because it's like, all right, fine. He's just being a dick. He's just being a teenager. He's alive. He blew his whole Chicago family off on Easter. You can live with that. So I didn't respond. Yeah, after I got the hello from him, I'm like, fine, you're home, go to bed. It's 10 o'clock, let's go in the morning. That's what I'm thinking. So this morning, he sends me a text. He sends me this big, long text about, oh my God, bark, being a teenager. Sends it to me. I haven't responded. I went dark on him. You don't go dark on your Chicago family over Easter and think that I'm just going to come back to the table with flowers. I don't care. I'm going to let him slide, but he owes his grandma a call tonight. That's for goddamn sure. Anyway, So here's what I want to do regarding For All Mankind, which again, it comes with the Pugs' highest recommendation. It is such a cool series. What I want to show you is how the series has changed. I've explained to you that the very first season of it takes place in the 1970s. The second year takes place in the 80s. Third season takes place in the 90s. And the fifth season, where we are right now, it begins in 2012. So I want to show you the trailer for the first season, and then we'll watch the trailer for the new season, and you can see how far we went after losing the moon to the Russians. I just think it's a really cool concept for a TV show, and if you're someone like me and you get excited about the potential of what is out there and what can happen, all right, here you go. So this is going to be season 1, right? I want you to watch this. This is how the show and the series begins. Season 1 of For All Mankind. Now in its 5th season, just recently on Friday, posted on Apple TV. Here we go.
That this nation should commit itself. I believe that this nation should commit itself to landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
After thousands of years gazing up in the heavens and dreaming of this day, a man is about to set foot on the moon. Across the world, people wait with bated breath. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a live signal. There he is. The shock across the nation at this event is just indescribable. The Soviet cosmonaut has become the first to set foot on the moon.
We thought it was about being first. Turns out the stakes are much bigger than that. Get back to work. We're still in this thing.
Change your plans, gentlemen.
There is water on the moon. This race will be ours to fight for and to win. And we are not stopping there. Moon Lab.
We need to accelerate the base. You're gonna be an astronaut candidate.
No, I'm gonna be an astronaut.
We'll go to Mars, Saturn, the stars, the galaxy. Drifting right. Watch it!
Eagle, this is Houston. Do you copy?
This is not the end of the race. We must keep our eyes to the future.
3, 2.
All right, that one right there, that featured real historical people like Werner von Braun. We must keep our eyes to the future. He is the father of rockets globally, but specifically here in America. Who else do we see in there? We saw Gene Kranz, legendary, played by Ed, what's his name? Ed Harris in that Apollo 13. We saw him. We heard the president. Okay, so that's season 1. That takes place between 1970 and 1979. So we're up to season 5. Let me just show you how much fun you have in between season 1 and season 5. Season 5 kicks off. It's 2012, I think. Yes, it is. Season 5 kicks off. It's 2012. And not only did we win the race to establish a colony on the moon, but by 2012, we're already established on freaking Mars, baby. That's right. However, it did fall into public or private hands, just like, we're seeing with, what are we talking about? With Bezos and all that. So here we go. It's 2012. Mars is a thing. People live there now. Americans live there. People from all over the globe live on Mars. There's a colony there. It's run by a private organization. Just watch. Watch what season 5 is about.
Take it all in. Everything that's happened led to this moment. Your generation is going to do things people can't even fathom.
Our mission is to find life in the far reaches of our solar system.
The greatest discovery in human history.
We can't blow this.
My administration will put Earth back in charge. We simply cannot keep funneling money to Mars.
We have to be self-sufficient, no longer relying on shipments of supplies from Earth. Truly in control of our own destiny.
We will not back down. It's high time we bring Mars back under control.
Time is running out, and they're going to destroy any hope of a tomorrow up here.
Change happens when a few determined individuals make it happen. We need to take matters into our own hands.
Mars is ours! Mars is ours! Mars is ours!
Oh, now we're cooking with gas.
You can't lose your humanity.
We're fighting for our humanity.
Without allies, without aid, without your home planet, let's see how long you can survive.
At a certain point, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do with the time that I have left?
So, to bring you up to speed, basically, the arc of the series so far has gone from what we've all seen depicted millions of times. That's Saturday? Was it Saturday? I don't know. On the July 20th, 1969, the day I was born. We've gone from season 1, where they got buzz cuts and the racing classic, astronaut Corvettes around town, to 2012, where we've already colonized Mars. And guess what's happening? Well, the colonists are revolting. There is a revolution, parallels to the American Revolution. These are colonists from America and Europe and all that, who are beginning to rebel against the president, who is starting to tax the people of Mars. I'm telling you, it's a great series. Apple TV, the new season 5, but I'm betting as most people, I don't know that a lot of people are watching it because there's not a whole lot of buzz. But there's not a whole lot of buzz for any show anymore, is there? Like, what show gets buzz? And, to me, I just feel like a show like that should get buzz because it's so good. Oh, and you know what? It's one of those shows, too. This is how you know if a show is really good from beginning to end. You've got to, what I like to use, because it's an easy little shortcut. You can use AI or whatever, but you can just go to Wikipedia. Just go to Wikipedia and put the name of the show that you're interested in and go to that show's page, scroll all the way down, and then go to the reception article. There'll be an article all about how the show was received and all that. And one of the things that irritates me, and it's the great flaw of the critics community, which is something with Rotten Tomatoes and Yelp reviews and all that. We all fancy ourselves critics now, but it's one of my things with the critics community is that they're also fraudulent in posing. Things that they truly like, they're embarrassed by because they're not comfortable with who they are. So they amplify things that they really don't like, but they wish they did because those are the kinds of people they want to be. I think that's the cancer of the critic community. So when you scroll down and you take a show like this, right, you read it and you start to read the reviews for season 1. When it was first released, nobody had seen it. We saw it for the first time, and I'm going to tell you, and it's like 64% approval. Season 1 has a 64% approval, meaning generally okay reviews. The critical consensus is nice try, but falls flat, that kind of shit. Season 1. But then season 1 runs its course, everybody sees it, and other critics start going, this show is incredible. And then season 2 debuts, and you read that on Wikipedia, and it goes from 64% approval in season 1 to 100% approval in season 2, and 100% approval in season 3, and 100. It's like, just be honest. It was fucking great from the beginning. And you people were just looking to be contrarian assholes saying that something. You see it all the time with shows. So go look at any of the best shows, the most lauded and loved shows of the past, 5 years or so. You will track them. Season 1 is always the lowest rated because people are always going to try and shit on something for no reason. And by the way, the season one of, the show I'm talking about here, which is Apple TV's For All Mankind. Season 1 is not all that low rated, but compared to every season after, which is either, 94 to 100, it looks a little out of place. And that's because people are bullshit about their reviews of new seasons of or premiere seasons of TV shows. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for today. We're about out of time, and I wish I had more time to spend with you because y'all seem so lovely. We're going to be back here tomorrow at noon. I'd like to remind you, if you can, please help the show out. We're in the middle of a pledge week. This show has been able to survive for 5 years. We're in deep water yet again. Hopefully, you good people will bail us out. All right, we'll do a true accounting tomorrow. I'll tell you where we stand and what we need. But until then, please help out the show if you could. Drop a little something, Venmo or Cash App. Tonight, my predictions, I tell you that Michigan's going to win. It'll be Michigan. Maybe we'll go to war. I don't know. He says tomorrow, but, wouldn't that be Trump to attack on Monday when he tells you it's coming Tuesday? So who knows? I don't know what's going on with this guy. What else? What else do we have? Started the show with the question, who's the greatest dog of all time? All right, we did that. There was something else I wanted to mention too. Something else. I don't remember what it was. It just popped into my head. I'm like, I should mention that because that would be fascinating. Probably not. Probably something stupid. All right, that's it, guys. I love you, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Appreciate you. And seriously, there was something else that I was going to say. Oh, hey, I just thought about it. Oh, okay, here you go. So remember last week I told you about my team, the Chicago White Sox, and the hot water that their announcer, John Schriffen, had found himself in because we have a new hotshot Japanese power hitter named Munetaka Murakami, and he's on fire. He hit more home runs and stuff this weekend. Anyway, he's real good, and we knew he was real good. But anyway, for some reason, the White Sox acquired him. Don't know how he got past the Dodgers, but that's okay. We'll revisit that at the trade deadline. We'll make the Dodgers give us everything. I don't believe he's going to stay on the South Side. I think we're going to let him develop. We're going to let the Yankees and the Dodgers get real thirsty for him, and then we're going to offer him. But whatever. In the meantime, we love Mooney Murakami. John Schriffen, who does play-by-play for the White Sox last week, he decided to give him a new nickname. So he started to call him the Southside Samurai. Southside Samurai. Cool name, man. That's fucking cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. We like it. But you're not the one whose culture is being a problem. I'm like, huh? What? Yeah, it became that whole thing. It became a big thing. John Schriffen was warned that he can't call him the Southside Samurai. I mean, I look, if it was 2018, I'd be like, well, yeah, we're getting back to normal. 2018, okay, yeah, I thought we could do that. I thought we weren't worried. I thought we weren't hung up on that kind of bullshit anymore. That you can't call the new Japanese slugger the Southside Samurai because somehow that's offensive. Even though he himself kind of digs it, he loves it. He didn't think it was offensive in any way. So comes this news. It's been revealed, and this was making its way around Chicago media this morning on sports radio and whatnot. I guess nobody bothered to check, and I guess nobody bothered to ask an actual Japanese baseball player. But as it turns out, guys, samurai, dubbing the title of samurai on a Japanese baseball player is not only not offensive, but it's an honor and a distinction. For years. In fact, you think, oh, whatever, Pugs, that's convenient. Nah, you can find this online because this is the article that I think the Sun-Times put out today. The national all-star team of the Nippon League, basically like Major League Baseball's all-star team, okay? So in Japan, the guys who are selected to the all-star team are called the Nippon Samurais. That's the name. That's what they are called, the Nippon Samurais. But John Schriffen, who, I don't love him as a White Sox announcer. I'm a Jason Benetti guy. I can't believe that they let Benetti go. Anybody that replaces Benetti is going to get shit on by the fans because we love Benetti. But anyway, we got Schriffen. This is bullshit. He didn't do anything wrong. There was no malice in him calling him the Southside Samurai. Everybody went nuts. Not everybody. The weirdos went nuts. And apparently there were enough of them to get him to have to apologize for it. And now, 72 hours after he apologizes, now it's revealed that it's one of the highest honors you could bestow upon a Japanese baseball player is calling him a baseball samurai. People. It's too bad. Anyway, I don't know why I wanted to tell you that, but I wanted to tell you that. All right, I got to go. Love you guys. See you back here tomorrow at noon. Please tip the show if you can. We're out. Bye.